argue that 3 of the back 4 are Arsenal players.
Yeah.
Then you can easily argue that 2 of the 3 midfielders are Arsenal players.
Yeah.
So it's Arsenal heavy.
Yeah.
And then you get to the front 4 and it's not one Arsenal player getting a look in. And sometimes it comes down to this in terms of winning the league.
Yeah.
Who's going to carry you to the league? And every single time, if you think over the history of the Premier League, we've got, 33 seasons of Premier League football.
Yeah.
And you go, who won the league in 1995? You go, Alan Shearer. You go, who won the league in 1999? You go, Andy Cole. Yeah. Who won the league in 2005? Didier Drogba. Every single time, there is a clear goal scorer.
Who won it in 2026? Gabriel.
Yeah, but that's never happened, and that's why the point is, I think what they'll probably say is Erling Haaland.
Yeah.
I think it will probably come down to a forward.
Okay, Spurs and Arsenal fans. Next, we'll take your calls on Sunday's game. It's a massive one. Just how big is it for both of you? 03717 22 3344.
More green jackets have been lost at the 12th than at the Augusta City dry cleaners. Rory McIlroy knows this better than most. But what is Amen Corner and why is it so iconic? The famous sequence has always been there since the Masters began in 1934. It didn't get its name until '58, though, when American sports writer Herbert Warren Wind, on the left, wrote, "At the farthest reach of the Augusta National Course, down in the Amen Corner." He drew inspiration from the 1933 jazz song Shouting in That Amen Corner by the Dorsey Brothers. The reason behind its difficulty is all in the sand and the water. Tournament officials don't even bother to count the balls lost in there each year, such is the sheer number. The 11th, named White Dogwood, is a downhill 520-yard par 4 with a pond to the left of the green and a bunker to the right. Both cause a lot of trouble each year. The 12th, Golden Bell, is perhaps the most famous hole in the world, with danger everywhere. Many aim for the flag, but look, get it even slightly wrong, and you're in the azaleas at the back, or the bunkers at the front, or even worse, Rays Creek. Or you can play it safe and aim for the open green on the left. You chicken. Tiger Woods once said, if you make 4 bogeys from Thursday to Sunday, you're doing well. And the highest ever score on that hole? 13. It's a par 3. Tom Weiskopf in 1980 was the sorry soul.
And they're off.
Win a trip to Cheltenham, Alan Brazil style, on talkSPORT.
Fancy joining talkSPORT at the famous Cheltenham Festival for a Gold Cup day? We're giving away the ultimate hospitality experience for 2 on Friday, the 13th of March. You'll get the full day of VIP treatment, a 4-course lunch, a complimentary bar all day, celebrity tipsters and more. You'll be experiencing the races in the best possible way, and you'll get to meet some of us. Here's how to enter. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close on the 27th of February 2026 at 4 p.m. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus, UK residents only. This is a TalkSPORT promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. So for your chance to win, text 83338 now. Rory, you're back with us.
Yes, sir.
Nice water. You're charged up. You ready to go?
Ready.
Listen, I've got some messages as well, actually, from some Arsenal fans. We're going to hit the text line. Saka stats are pathetic this year. That's the first one. Madueke is so much kudos.
He means so much better than
Yeah, so it says it's so much. No, he's not. Kulu stats push Saka, whose stats don't back up the hype. Compare Saka to Son, Salah, Mane. Is Saka in that conversation to those guys?
I do rate Saka. I think Saka's a class act. I don't think he's playing very well at the moment. I don't think he's been very good this season. But Bukayo Saka is an excellent player, and I think that there is actually a conversation to be had around Bukayo Saka and maybe the lack of development. Like, genuinely, a few years ago when they nearly won the league, say the first title race for City, I thought that Bukayo Saka was going to become one of the best in the world at what he does. I thought he was going to have the development that maybe Jurgen Klopp, when Jurgen Klopp sprinkled the stardust on Sadio Mane or sprinkled the stardust on Mohamed Salah, I thought that maybe Martin Odegaard as well, Odegaard and Saka, were going to have that kind of
elevate. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I thought they were going to have
happened.
that.
They haven't ignited.
No, they're still. Arguably they're both
first
worse.
goal since December the other day.
Arguably they're both worse than they were. If you think about the player that Odegaard was when he scored those 15 goals, that feels like a lifetime ago. If you think about the development of Saka over the past 2 years, it doesn't feel like he's gone particularly far. And I wonder if Mikel Arteta is responsible for that. You need to allow Saka to express himself, don't you?
Exactly, as they do with a whole load of players as well. Aaron says Kudus is not better than Madueke on the text line. I'm sorry, but he is for me. Pedro says Solanke and Richarlison are better than Gyökeres. Xavi and Maddison are better than Odegaard and Eze. I wouldn't go with that, Pedro. The first one, Solanke and Richarlison better than Gyökeres, though. You might have some legs there. And tomorrow's TalkSPORT Daily podcast will feature host Ollie Klink, Arsenal fan Harry Symeou, and Spurs fan Ricky Sachs as they look ahead to the North London derby and ask, is it the biggest one in years? We're going to go to the phone line now to an Arsenal fan. We're going to speak to Harvey. Harvey, how massive is this game?
How you doing, boys? You all right?
All good, mate.
I think it's huge. Especially after dropping points at Brentford and Wolves. If you win them 2 games, then you expect to beat Tottenham anyway at the moment.
We'll come back to him. We're going to cross over to Ryan now. We'll try and get Harvey back on the line. Sorry about that, Harvey. Let's go to Ryan. He's also an Arsenal fan. How you feeling? Ryan?
Yeah, I think it's a must win. It's a must win. I think Roy's giving too much stick to Gyökeres.
Is he a Premier League player?
Yeah, of course he is. How many goals has he scored? 10 goals in the Premier League all together? And you think, how many did Drogba score in his first season?
Oh, God, you can't do that, Ryan. You can't.
Hold on. All the time, there's 2 people marking him. That's why every time he comes off, that's when we can see the late goals. Because they're throwing a defender up front.
This is crazy. To bring up Didier Drogba in a conversation about Victor Gyökeres is wild.
Is it not valid in terms of you look at just to play devil's advocate for what Ryan's saying? in his first season, Didier Drogba, didn't set it alight.
It's a bit of a myth. If you look at the quality of goals that Didier Drogba scored, I remember being at Selhurst Park when he scored his first goal for us. So it's a header. Celestine Babiaro whipped it over, and it was a towering centre-forward header. The clues were there that Didier Drogba was going to go on. Yeah, the clues were there that Didier Drogba was going to go on to become one of the best strikers the Premier League has ever seen. That was there for all to see. I've seen nothing in Victor Gyökeres, literally nothing, to suggest that he's going to be even a mediocre striker in the Premier League.
Ryan's not having it. He's saying it. He is a Premier League player. I think with Gyökeres,
he's a dud.
Yeah,
he's so obviously
if I'm being honest, I think it's the way he moves. He's quite clunky. I think there's been a lot of evidence of not being able to actually engage in defenders. Now, it is about the team as well. It's not just all one thing of the player. Do Arsenal create chances for him? How involved is he? How are they trying to play through him, for him, round him? No, but I do agree. I look at him and I go, not at the required level. I look at him and go, you need to go back to Havertz.
Also, do you know what, Flex? You know when you say
he's not having an impact on games.
I find it so frustrating when people talk about forwards and they start blaming everybody else around them. We go, who's creating for him? Who's moving for him? Where's the service? Think about great goals that have been scored by great strikers. Didn't Ruud van Nistelrooy basically run the length of the pitch against Fulham? Yeah. Right. So who created for him? Yeah. Who?
No, but that goal was an anomaly out of Ruud van Nistelrooy's catalogue. Mostly it was supply line from Scholes, from Giggs.
But the example is when somebody didn't create for him, he created for himself. When Didier Drogba smashes it past Tim Howard at Goodison Park to almost guarantee us a lead.
That was. Victor Gyökeres couldn't do that.
Who opened the door for him? Who was providing the service? It was him crafting the service for himself, creating the chances for himself.
Let's go back to the phone line. I think we've got Harvey back with us. Harvey, sorry mate, we lost you there. Over to you, my friend.
Yeah, that's all good. I think it's massive. After dropping points at Brentford and Wolves, which you expect to win, it puts huge pressure on this game. I think we're going to beat Tottenham anyway, and the way they're playing.
Do you think that's a given? Do you think that's a given that they've got a new manager bound? Thomas Frank is gone. They got to galvanise themselves. The crowd's going to be up for it. You're not playing too well. Don't you think there's a little bit of more than a banana skin here?
I don't know. I think we're going to be right up for it. I think we tend to lack when we're playing the games that we take for granted.
True.
I think it looked like we take Brentford and Wolves for granted. Like we're going to beat them. Whereas, I think going away at Tottenham, we got a really good record there. I think we're going to be right up. We have to win. If we don't win, you throw the title away.
Yeah.
Well and truly. So,
Harvey, what do you think the problem is in the team at the minute? Like, is it literally just down to pressure? Like you get into the crunch moments now, or do you think this is a little blip, or have you seen this coming? Like, what have your thoughts been about what's actually wrong with the team at the minute?
I don't know. I think it is just a bit of pressure. I don't know what else it could be, because Arteta's coming out and saying that it's not a tactical reason, that he's telling the team to sit back on leads, and so I'm not so sure. I think there has to be just pressure. We're feeling it. Every time we've had time to capitalise this season, to go 12 points clear, 15 points clear, we choke. Brentford away, although it's a tough game, you should be going and beating Brentford away with the quality. Everyone bangs on about the squad and the quality that we have. We can't seem to score goals enough or beat anyone. Wolves, one of the worst Premier League teams in history, and we blow a 2-0 lead there. If that's any other, Man United, Tottenham, Chelsea, if that's anyone else, everyone...
You just see it out. Yeah, we've lost him again, but we pretty much get the gist of what Harvey was saying. Thank you for calling in there, mate. I just think it's like, it's just such a big game, Roy, and I just think the loser of it, I know you're saying like Spurs can be all right, because statistically, mathematically, there's enough games, but like if they keep taking too many more drubbings, that what will start to kick in is that like, oh my God, we're in this now. If the others, if West Ham and
mate, I completely agree.
Do you know what I mean? And then for Arsenal, like you say, they have to show it. They have to now.
No. Arsenal can't draw to Brentford, Wolves, and Tottenham 3 games in a row and expect to have any chance of winning the league. They just can't. But equally with Tottenham, I do understand what you're saying. I do sort of agree with you as well that it gets very troublesome for Tottenham. But equally, they need to accrue 10 points. They've got a new manager in. They've got a decent squad. They're a big club. They've got good support. They need to find 10 points. If you look at their fixtures, they're playing both Palace and Brighton. Arsenal isn't where they have to win.
Yeah.
It's where they want to win.
Yeah, I know what
Arsenal
you mean.
isn't where they need.
Those are the unforgivable ones that they
Leeds.
can't drop.
They're playing.
Yeah, you have to win that.
Yeah. The fixtures where you look, if you're a Tottenham fan or if you're in the club and you're not looking at the emotion of the situation, you're not thinking about the rivalry with Arsenal, you just think, where do we accrue our 10 points?
Yeah.
You're looking at Palace, you're looking at Brighton, you're looking at maybe Everton final day of the season, who probably have nothing to play for.
Yeah.
There's 9.
Well, on 1:30 on Sunday, it is Game Day Live with Sam Matterface, Mickey Gray and Perry Groves here on talkSPORT with all the goals as they go in from the Premier League, including Spurs v Arsenal. What is your prediction for this game, Roy?
I think it's got 1-1 written all over it. Arsenal will draw, open the door for Man City, and it's not a bad point for Tottenham.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to go 2-2. I think it's going to be a bit of action in there. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure flying around. 2-2. Right, breaking horse racing news tonight as Constitution Hill has romped to victory in his flat racing debut on the all-weather track at Southwell. Constitution Hill now becomes the favourite for next month's Champions Hurdle at the Cheltenham Festival, which you can hear live across the talkSPORT network. But next here on Fact Football It's Friday, we'll be looking at the other side involved in the title race, and that is Manchester City as they host Newcastle United exclusively live on talkSPORT tomorrow.
I'll tell you why I'm not worried. Because if Arteta doesn't win anything this season, major, then it has to go. All right?
No, I disagree with that.
No, well, you would, wouldn't you? But we don't sack managers every other week.
But you can't sack a manager who gets to the latter stages of every competition. You can't. You can't.
You can when the pattern emerges.
You can sack them.
The pattern emerges. Chelsea did it.
It depends what they do.
They won things.
So, John,
okay, here's a question. Would you sack Arteta if they finish second in
well, what happens in the Champions League?
They lose in the final.
What happens in the Carabao Cup?
Lose in the final.
FA Cup?
Lose in the final.
Mate, he's got to go. You can't.
You're gonna sack him.
You can't get to 3
finals.
You can't get to 3 finals and finish second. You can't. That to me tells that is all the evidence. No, you well done. It's a little bit like what Claudio Ranieri done at Chelsea. Chelsea he finished second that season. We beat Arsenal in the semi-final, quarter-final of the Champions League. Got beat by Monaco. Jose comes in. We've gone from second to the quarter-finals to almost winning. We won the title, won the Carabao Cup. Arteta might just be that man. He might be the nearly man. He might be the man, but he might be the nearly man. If he's the nearly man...
Well, you'd sack him. You've got to be careful what you wish for, Jake. You built this team for him.
I'm not saying...
Built this team, and if they don't win it this season, or they finish second and they miss the cup finals, whatever, I don't think you can sack Arteta. I don't, mate.
I think you can.
From where they've come from.
No, but that's the point I'm making. He has taken them to this point. Now, their time is now. Their time is now. And if it's not now, I don't know when it ever is going to be, because City will be stronger next season.
The Premier League is back in session. Stands up the cross towards Haaland, falls for Semenyo, and he pokes it in.
Played it down the right-hand side of the box, into the area, twisting and turning, lays it off to Gordon, and there's the goal for Newcastle. It's been coming
talkSPORT, the network. We have more games than anyone else. We have more commentaries than anyone else. talkSPORT and talkSPORT 2. We love football as much as you do.
Thank football. It's Friday right here on talkSPORT with myself, Flex, and Rory Jennings. We're going to be with you until 10 p.m. The Premier League title race is hotting up. We've spoken about Spurs and Arsenal. Now time to turn our attention, Rory, to Manchester City, the team that is trying to hunt Arsenal down. Jaws theme music. The Sharks are coming.
It's amazing, isn't it? It's amazing. Mikel Arteta can hear the hooves. He can hear the galloping of Pep Guardiola behind him. It's going to be fascinating these next few weeks.
It's going to be incredible. They take on Newcastle United tomorrow evening, which will be a fascinating game as well. Listen, Newcastle United's record is awful at the Etihad in the Premier League. But let's talk Manchester City. Have they shown enough thus far to show that they can be champions this year?
Well, no, they haven't.
No one has.
Exactly. That's exactly the point. So by implication, therefore, they have. Yeah. But no, they don't look like champions. This Man City team, they look more vulnerable than perhaps ever under Pep Guardiola. They look like a team in transition. They don't have the world-class superstars that would intimidate you the way they once did. But could they end up as champions? Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I almost think, do you think there's any truth in this? That you can redefine the season pre and post the Liverpool away game for Man City?
100%. 100%. I mean, that could be. I mean, it felt like it then because even Bernardo Silva said it afterwards that we felt that would have gone to 9 points. We would have been done. And I was convinced, having done a bit of content, saying this is the weekend where Arsenal win the league. Arsenal will beat Sunderland, and they did 3-0. And I fully expected Liverpool to deal with Man City. And it looked like it was going that way. And then they just found something. And then it's turned since then. So you're right. I think they haven't. Yeah, you're right. By default, nobody's really put hands on the trophy to say we're going to take this and run away with it. That was Arsenal's job. They haven't done that. They've continually left this window of opportunity for Manchester City, albeit not being anywhere near swashbuckling best, to exploit. And now, I think, is where they're going to look at it. City boss Pep Guardiola has been speaking to the media earlier on as well about the title race.
I didn't speak 1 second about that with my players. Yesterday, the day before, it's just Newcastle. I didn't talk about the table. I didn't talk about the position or something like that. I could not care less. It's 12 games. So it's 12 games left. It's an eternity. So many things is going to happen. That is the only truth I have.
City boss Pep Guardiola there saying, I didn't talk about it. Nothing about the title race. I couldn't care less where we are. There's 12 games to go. Is that a man of experience talking about knowing what it's like and you don't get carried away with 12 games? Or is it the mind games? Is it, of course he spoke about, of course he's gone in there and said, look at them. Look at, do you not think that he had some form of meeting and gone, guys, look at them. Season starts now.
I actually think, honestly,
probably didn't.
I think the former. I think the fact that there's 12 games to go and he said it's an eternity, I believe that he thinks that. I believe that when you are as well-versed and knowledgeable as Pep Guardiola, you aren't emotional about it now. You know that there's so many twists and turns to come. You know that there's so much football to be played. You know that you cannot be treating each game like a cup final now.
Yeah.
What you need to be doing now is those routine wins. Win next. You just need to be getting through them in the most professional way. A nice 2-0 win where nothing happens. Nobody's injured. No last-minute goal. No last
drama.
No, just get it done.
Yeah.
And I think that Pep Guardiola truly believes that. I think that the 2 points that you made, you said, is it one or is it the other? I imagine that there is a grey area of the Venn diagram where there is a little bit.
I think Haaland,
Arsenal,
someone like Haaland will be in there saying to Bernardo, told you, innit? See? Remember when I told him be humble? We go and get him now, yeah? Like, the factions of players.
Also, winning a league title, I feel like we all kind of take it for granted as to how amazing it is.
Yeah, and how difficult it is.
And how difficult it is, and how historic it is, and how amazing it is.
Yeah. They've made it just
They've made it blasé, but also, I think that as much as they win it regularly, I think that they will appreciate how big the achievement is.
Yeah.
And I think that they'll be looking at it and going, listen, we can win this. Like, this can be our season. This is ours now.
Yeah, it's in both of their hands technically. But, if Arsenal win all their games, because it includes City, then they win it. But I don't think either of them are going to win all their games.
No, I think there'll be many twists and turns to come. But
Which Pep is right about that.
I think that City will be looking at it going, look, we aren't the best team in the country. We probably don't deserve it.
And we don't have to be.
But we can win this.
Yeah.
And it will just cement them on some level, it will cement their legacy, because for Pep Guardiola, his legacy doesn't need this. In my opinion, he is the second best manager to have ever managed in the Premier League, and that won't change regardless. But I think this win, by some definition, is the most impressive win if they were to win it.
Well, this is the one where everybody's questioning Pep. This is the one where everyone's talking about his exit route. Has he still got it? He never stays long enough anywhere to have to truly rebuild a winning, title-winning team and go again and experience difficulties. And Man City have definitely had that. Like you said, they look vulnerable. They can be got at. There isn't this inevitability about their wins. They haven't been that team. They can be get at every team.
It's also the first time, I think, that I can remember anyway. It's the first time that Manchester City could win the league and not be the best team in the country.
Yeah.
Like every time that he's won a league, people could dismiss it, and I don't think it's right when they do this, but people could dismiss Pep Guardiola's achievements by going, well, they got the best team in the country. Yeah. Well, they got Sergio Aguero. Well, they got Kevin De Bruyne. Well, they've obviously won the league because they're the best. They got the best squad. They got the most money, whatever. This is the first time where you go, okay, Liverpool were probably favourites to win the league. They were the champions. They had the Galactico transfer window. They were the favourites. So Man City weren't there. And then I think the heir to the throne, if it wasn't going to be Liverpool, was Arsenal.
Yeah.
So Manchester City, in a transition season where they have no right to win a league title, could win it.
Although I would push back just with my Man United hat on, just not feeling sorry for City because they've spent an awful lot of money. As soon as it's gone wrong, 200 million in the last January, another 100 million now, X amount of million in the summer. Like, that's a winning team. But they've spent. They have spent big. Let's turn our attentions to Newcastle United now and Eddie Howe. Been under a lot of pressure this season. Currently sit 10th in the Premier League. Somewhat of a resurgence in all comps, i.e. FA Cup win against Villa was good and needed. Last time out beat Spurs in the Premier League, needed. Albeit an awful, horrific Spurs side, which was the end of Thomas Frank. So what you can take from that, I don't know. Massive winners against Karabakh, of course, the other night. But in the league, it's still one win in the last 5. Still a lot to do for Eddie Howe. But as he proved that just when you think he might be on his last legs, he can find something.
Listen, Eddie Howe is a good manager. There's no two ways about it. Like, Eddie Howe is a football man who knows football inside out. He's been in the game for decades, and he's clearly well equipped to be a top tier manager. I wish he was England manager. He would be my tip for England manager now. I wish he was England's manager going into the World Cup. So that's how highly I rate him. I think he's a class act. But I do think he's made some mistakes at Newcastle as well. I do think that it's run a little dry. How much of that you put at his door, I don't know. I think that the summer that they had, the abject transfer window that they had, the signings that they tried to make, they've wasted a lot of money, but also, and I know that this isn't all his fault, but they missed out on player after player after player. They then had that endless saga with Alexander Isak. I think it's been very detrimental to their season. Trying to sign Mbeumo, not signing Mbeumo. Trying to sign Liam Delap, not signing Liam Delap. Trying to sign Mark Gahey, not signing Mark Gahey.
Trying to sign Sesko.
Trying to sign Sesko, not signing Sesko. Trying to sign Ekitike, actually signing Ekitike and then not signing Ekitike. A lot of it isn't his fault. And I think that people are quite generous to the ownership of Newcastle in terms of because we know that they have a lavish amount of money, because we know that because we know that they have the funds to spend. People don't really see the ownership as being at fault.
Well, and the footballing department, they've made some bad decisions there where, they didn't even have anyone in post, I think, for a little while. And, Paul Mitchell was in there. I think Dan Ashworth obviously left, etc. There's been a lot of change.
And a lot of the players haven't looked particularly good either.
Exactly. And I just think with the ones they did decide to buy, though, they've come back with, Johan Visser, which... Let's be honest.
That was terrible business.
And they waited for him, got a knee injury. He had a knee injury. He couldn't even play. Yeah. And quality-wise,
they paid a fortune that they didn't need to pay.
Nick Voltemada started like a house on fire. Everyone's saying how good he is. Better than, thank God we didn't get Sesko. Thank God we didn't get this, that and the other. And now all of a sudden he's playing centre mid. So he's been Joe Linton.
Yeah.
So, Anthony Elanga, let's be honest, hasn't worked. Malik Thiaw, I like.
But equally...
And then they've still got the same keeper in Pope because they've put Ramsdale on the bench.
But the other thing that they've got as well... Like, why are they not? I know they can't spend the money. Because of the rules and the parameters that they have to operate. But what I don't understand is why are they not trying to spend the money and being more crafty about it? I know what I'm saying here isn't particularly within the spirit of the game. But Chelsea wanted to spend money, and we sold ourselves a women's team
and a hotel,
right? So I don't like it. I find football a pretty deplorable game at the moment. But if you want to spend money, there are ways where you can.
Yeah.
St. James's Park could easily become the Saudi Airlines Arena and they would be able to spend money. But for one reason or another, that isn't happening.
I do think it is when you are clubs the size of Newcastle, no disrespect because they are a big club, but in terms of the revenue they make, I was looking at this, they make half the revenue that Spurs do. Half. They're around 300 odd million turnover. Yeah. And sometimes your history that precedes you and your DNA and like commercially what you're able to do with the way the rules are, it doesn't allow them to flex that massive infrastructure of money, that's injection of cash that's been put into it because they're the richest owners in the world. It doesn't reflect that because they're still, like I say, Man United, with how poor we've been, our revenue still sits at around 650 million quid. Yeah. Newcastle United can't get anywhere near that, and they've been better than United for the last. Do you know what I mean? So look, it just shows you how difficult it is, even with the massive. That bit I do get.
But what I think is crazy with regard to Newcastle United, they're a club that were pushing 100 years without a trophy. Suddenly, they're in the Champions League fairly consistently under Eddie Howe. Since he's been there, they're in it more often than they're not. They've won silverware. They've been in semi-finals fairly recently. I think that he's doing an excellent job.
I agree. I've never agreed with get rid of him.
It's crazy. Do you know, I could make a list of 20 problems at Newcastle United, and Eddie Howe wouldn't be on the list.
Mm-hmm. They haven't been playing great football at times, and they have to take responsibility for that. But Eddie Howe is a man, though, who will. He does take responsibility, and for the unfit, they've still got a good nucleus.
If they sack Eddie Howe, they are not getting a better manager in than Eddie Howe.
Right now, yeah. Right, on the weekend sports, the weekend sports breakfast tomorrow with Shabana Hearn and Tony Cascarino. You can hear an exclusive interview with Newcastle and England defender Dan Burn. While also, don't forget, you can also catch the latest analysis of the Magpies on Inside the Toon, available on the talkSPORT Newcastle YouTube channel and wherever you get your podcast from. That is Manchester City versus Newcastle United. That is a talkSPORT exclusive on Saturday, presented by Ian Danta. Commentary from Sam Matterface and former England captain Stuart Pearce. Give me a prediction for that game, Rory. Are Newcastle United going to be able to go to the Etihad and spoil the party and help Arsenal out?
No, I think it will be, if my prediction is correct here, off the back of Manchester City almost refreshing, pressing the restart button, rebooting off what happened at Anfield, I think that it will be the best result possible for Man City. And that's not a 5-0 win. That is just a clean 2-0 win. A goal after 20 minutes to ease the nerves, another one after 60 minutes to put it to bed. Nobody injured, no drama, no bookings, job done, onto the next win for Man City. With a bit of luck.
Really? Yeah. I agree. I'm gonna go 2-1 City. Actually, no, 3-2. 3-2 City. I'm gonna go. Right, Blackburn and against Preston. That is in the Championship. That's just got underway on talkSPORT 2. But here on Thank Football It's Friday, we're going to be talking about Oliver Glasner's comments today.
Just unbelievable how things have changed so dramatically just from like a 190-minute game where Arsenal really...
but it's not 190-minute game, though.
No, it's not.
It's been a few weeks now.
No, you're right. But if Arsenal win that 2-0 compared to drawing it 2-2, the narrative is so different. The point, it's so... We're talking about now, you said it last night, Championship rounds, we are there. We're approaching that time now. Mm-hmm. And here's the funny thing, right, is that it's... Man City, right? They're not putting Arsenal under pressure. This is not like Man City and Liverpool going toe to toe, where City win, Liverpool win, City win, Liverpool draw, City win, Liverpool win, City. And do you remember that under Klopp and Pep, right?
Yeah.
You know, and I remember when Chelsea were going toe-to-toe with Man United. You know, there'll be that, they win, and you have to go. And there's like, the points difference was minute, and every result mattered. The only reason that Man City are back in this title race ain't because of Man City. It's because of Arsenal. That's the reason they're back in it. Not that Man City are like putting pressure on them. The only pressure that's coming is from.
So you think it's more about them stumbling than actually?
Yes, 100%. This is not.
But I think your neck. I know, but I think Man City are. They've been they're rebuilding, right? They've built a new team.
Yeah.
Arsenal's team was ready to win it, so I feel like Man City now. This is when Man.
Life after football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
Crystal Palace sit 13th with only one win in their last 11 matches.
It's absolutely just devastating to watch, just imploded after winning the FA Cup.
It shows you the squad is probably not deep enough to compete.
My decision has already been taken months ago, and I told him that I will not sign a new contract for Crystal Palace.
And the whistle goes. Dubravka's flying to his right to save. Has got 3 points for Burnley in a game that defied all logic. And Palace have looked, well, I have to say, pretty much despondent throughout most of the second half. Is that the lack of guidance from the top? Is that the fact that Mr. Glasner's leaving? Is that anything to do with that?
This is Fact Football. It's Friday with myself, Flex, and Rory Jennings. We're here until 10 p.m. Time now to turn our attention to Crystal Palace, because Oliver Glasner is self-combusting. He's leaving it all out there. He's very frustrated. He's casting an isolated figure His future as Crystal Palace manager is in serious doubt after the club's poor run of form, which has seen them win just one of their last 15 games. The Austrian manager has already announced he's going to leave the club when his contract expires in the summer. But a section of Palace's away fans turned on him on Thursday night's draw at Zrinjski Mostar in the Conference League, chanting, "We want Glasner out." And now, speaking earlier today, Glasner has once again discussed his future.
Well, let's see. I always said, and this was, I think, the first press conference that why I can just repeat myself, And as I said, as a manager, you always depend on your players, and they will get all the support, like always, and then we will see.
Do you still want to be here until the end of the season?
Oh, let's see what the future brings. We never know.
Oliver Glasner there speaking. That last question is very damning. Do you want? He's already announced he's going to leave at the end of the season, and the journalist has asked him, "Do you want to be here until the end of the season?" I'm talking 12 games. Oof, I don't know. Let's see. So no, the answer is no. Should he be sacked right now? To me, he's angling to get sacked. Should he be sacked by the Palace hierarchy now for not making a mockery, but for coming out in this way and talking like this, even though we know he's leaving at the end of the season? Should he be sacked now?
It's difficult for me to answer this because when I say that he should be sacked, look, I don't think he should be the Crystal Palace manager, but I don't think he deserves a sacking.
Because
when I say doesn't deserve it, I don't mean, sorry, that sounds not like the point I'm making. The point I'm making is he wants the sacking.
Yes.
And he doesn't deserve that. His responsibility is to keep the club up.
He shouldn't be able to get out.
He doesn't get what he wants here.
Yeah.
I think that he's a disgrace. I think that he's an absolute disgrace. I think the way that he's treated Crystal Palace is shameful. His entire conduct has been deplorable. And I rated Glasner so highly. There was a time when I was saying that Glasner could be the next in line, the next cab off the rank for the biggest jobs.
Yeah.
I'm talking like the Manchester United job. I think that, and I'm now shamed that I said this, but I said that a manager like Glasner could be in line for a club as big as Manchester United. He has proven in his conduct at Crystal Palace this year that he is not the man for that job. He is not the man for a big job. He has proved to us
does it mean
that
that?
he's not the man. Yeah, 100%.
Or does
100%.
it
No, he's not the man. Your responsibility as a football manager is to manage situations. Your responsibility as a football manager is to employ an element of diplomacy to situations. Your responsibility is to roll with the punches. You are the conduit between the ownership and the team. And you have to make that as harmonious as possible. What Oliver Glasner has done is effectively launched a grenade into the home dressing room at Crystal Palace that could see them relegated.
Yeah, he's. I think if I'm looking at it from his perspective as how we've ended up here, let's say, because I agree with a lot of what you're saying. If you look at how we've ended up here, in his defence, he's saying, well, I've achieved something here, along with the players, of course, but I've been at the helm here, delivering Crystal Palace's first ever trophy. We're playing European football. We won the Community Shield. And what was my backing like? What? Yes, we have to sell players here, but I've been left with a squad that's been depleted, not invested in the correct way, and it's left me short. You then tried to sell my captain in the last dying minutes of the summer window. I managed to hold on to him till the January window, etc., etc. I also look at it from the point he made a comment and he said, we didn't hear it in that package, but he said, I like to look back at things and I like to just get a bit of context. And he said, in the last 10 years, Crystal Palace have only been better off by this time in the league on two occasions. So basically what he's saying is in the last 10 years, we've only played better than this twice. So be careful.
It's about the effort. Like, he's obviously phoning it in. He obviously doesn't want the sack.
Yeah,
he obviously doesn't want the job. Like, whether his team are more gifted or whether his team have accrued more points than Ian Dowie's team's kind of not relevant, is it? The fact that they're manager now, like to be the manager of Crystal Palace is an honour, right?
Yeah.
To play for Crystal Palace is an honour. Let's face it, you and I would both love to have been good enough to play for Crystal Palace.
Yep.
He's the manager of the club. That in itself puts him in a very privileged position. He should embrace that and enjoy it and love the fact that he is that. Instead of that, it's like he doesn't want to be there. He's phoning it in.
He doesn't want to be there, no. He wants, and the fact that he couldn't even commit to being there to the end of the season, which he said he's going to be, that would be a sickening if I was a Palace fan. Let's speak to a Palace fan right now. These are the people who know Crystal Palace way better than Rory and I. Sean, good evening, mate. What's your take on this? Because you rewind back to the summer. As a neutral, I'm looking at Palace in dreamland thinking, wow, what a team, what a manager, really happy for their fans. And you fast forward to now, mate, and it's just a complete opposite.
Totally. Well, dealing with the here and now, just a specific snapshot of here and now, he needs to go. He needs to go. It's a dysfunctional relationship. I said to one of your producers earlier, we've all had girlfriends where we've had wonderful, beautiful times with them, but then you go, I need to end this.
It's over.
You get to a point where it goes, and that's where we're at. In terms of why we've got here, might be a different discussion.
How do you think you've got here? Where do you stand in terms of looking at how you've ended up here? Is Glasner right in terms of why you're so infuriated to get here? Or is it like what Rory's saying, listen, things happen. You're the manager. This is Palace where they have to sell players and you have to get the best out of what you got. This is what you signed up for.
I think a bit of both. In terms of, we were on a great cusp. He had a great team. Yes, we've got to let play, like Elise say, we're not going to stand up to Bayern Munich. We're not going to attempt him from Arsenal. We get that. Unfortunately, unless you're a completely blinded Palace fan, we got to accept that, even going back to the days of Ian Wright. But there should have been more investment. He'd done some great things. And in terms of the financial things, we had room to play with. As Simon Jordan often says, we had room to play. We could have invested more. It's very I don't know why the money, I can't blame Parish because it's not necessarily his money, but the investors, it didn't come down. And I get why he's frustrated. I totally get why he's frustrated. And in a way, fair play back in January, throwing his dummy out the pram going, we're not selling Gay. Fair play to him on that. But now, just dealing with the here and now, he needs to go.
If he does go, mate, talkSPORT understands that Robbie Keane is one of the names.
Love that. Would you love that?
Would you?
I've got me. I'm a bit biased as a London Irish.
I was going to say, are you Irish?
Would love Robbie Keane. A young, hungry manager would love Robbie Keane, and he's successful.
And, good move, that, Rory.
Look, I think it's interesting. I'm surprised that there was such enthusiasm for Robbie Keane, but I kind of agree with every other point. I just think that I think that Sean, our caller there, was slightly more generous to Oliver Glasner than I would be.
That's what I mean. Maybe there's Palace fans they've just been to Wembley. They've just felt what it's like, and they're like, I can get why he's angry. I didn't want it to end like this. But Sean is still saying because it's got like this, it means he has to go. Not necessarily that he's a disgrace, etc.
I see him as a disgrace. I think it's appalling the way he's treated the club. I think it's appalling the way that he's behaved since winning that trophy. Like, you cannot go into a club the size of Crystal Palace and then start talking about them having their heart ripped out when they sell their best players. They've sold their best players since I can remember. Like, when I was a kid, when I was a kid, obviously I know Ian Wright went from there, and I think Kenny Sampson went from there. But even when I think Eddie McGoldrick went to Arsenal. Like, this is what happens when you are at a club like Crystal Palace. Your responsibility as the manager of that club is to find solutions.
But he's saying I did do that to the best of my ability, but you still need to give a bit back, mate. Look, I've won our first trophy in our history. We're playing in Europe. I've beaten Liverpool in the Community Shield.
But look at
what do you want me to do? This has never happened.
Look at what the club did for him. Just to put it.
I won the Europa League before I got here, mate. I got a CV.
No, but look at what the club did for him as well. Because of him, they didn't sell Mark Gahey. I think they could have sold Mark Gahey to Newcastle for about 65 million quid. They didn't. They sold him for 30 million quid 18 months later to Man City. So, in order
they tried to sell him on almost like deadline day when they probably wouldn't have got a replacement.
Fine, but they didn't. In order to keep Oliver Glasner happy, it's cost the club 35 million quid. Like, they've done that for him. Like, they haven't done exactly what they wanted to do. They've tried to keep their players. They've tried to manage the situation. And I can't understand when there is an obvious food chain of football clubs in this country. You go into a club like Crystal Palace and then you start crying that they sell players.
Yeah.
Who do you think you are?
We're always not having it. Palace, thank you, Sean, for calling in, mate. We feel your pain. Be interesting to see if Robbie Keane is your next manager, because surely Glasner's going to go by the end of this weekend. I can't see how it's going to like, probably even before the game that they have to play next. Right, Game Day Live is with Sam Matterface, Mickey Gray and Perry Groves on talkSPORT. That is Sunday from 1:30 with all goals as they go in from the Premier League, including Palace versus Wolves. That's enough. I mean, if they don't beat Wolves as well, it's going to get even more toxic, mate. Do you know what I mean? Score prediction for that?
So hard, isn't
it?
Draw written all over it.
1-1. Yeah?
Go for a 1-1 draw.
1-1. Right, next we'll be taking a look at Everton versus Manchester United, which is also exclusively live on talkSPORT on Monday evening.
got to talk about Celtic. You know the title. I don't. You've been away, right? The title's blown open now. Celtic favourites, Rangers second favourite, Hearts third.
Yeah.
And I've been whinging, right? And maybe I shouldn't because I don't go regular now. But I've been whinging about Celtic's lack of creation in midfield. It really annoyed me. I'm looking in the midfield saying, "Come on, we're better than that." Anyway, they got absolutely gubbed last night. But what I didn't know was, right from the first whistle, the old tennis balls came on.
Yeah. Martin O'Neill said something about it.
All I'm saying is this, right? I'm not trying to cover up a shocking result. Celtic got pumped, absolutely pumped. 4-1, but I'm not talking about that because Stuttgart are probably a decent side, better than Celtic.
Yeah,
it doesn't do the players any good when you start that carry on.
Well, it gives the away team a lift as well.
As Martin said, Stuttgart players would know about the atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, all these tennis balls come on, they're saying, "Oh, lovely."
We were talking about. I think Martin was talking about when Juventus, they were scared to go to Celtic Park. You know, the atmosphere, the hostility. All that sort of stuff. It's not an easy place to go and play, probably, as a European side, but they make it probably easier.
I'm going to upset a few now. Celtic fans, did you throw a tennis ball after the first kick? Yeah, I'm sorry. I know you're very disappointed the way things are going now.
The bold and all that sort of
stuff. For God's sake, it doesn't do it before the game and after the game, not during the game, honestly.
Premier League football at full pelt, live on talkSPORT. Good low ball into the near post, and Barry is there, stealing a march on his central defender to poke home. Comes into the penalty area, looking for Dorgu, and Dorgu gets on the end of it to finish it.
It's talkSPORT. We are Premier League.
Frank Football, it's Friday here with me, Flex and Rory Jennings. We're here until 10 p.m. before we hand over to the boys on the Sports Bar. Adam Catchell and Carl Cole will be standing by. We turn our attentions now to my team, Manchester United. We take on Everton at the Hill Dickinson Stadium on Monday night. So before we talk about the game, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, of course, made some idiotic and disgusting comments in my eyes a couple of weeks ago in regards to his comments saying that the UK has been colonised by immigrants. He has avoided punishment from the FA for those comments. The governing body has issued him with a reminder of his responsibilities as a participant in English football when taking part in media interviews. However, the FA will not be taking any further action. It had been examining whether the comments had brought the game into disrepute. We're going to be talking about basically whether that's the right call. It does bring the game into disrepute. I know people say keep politics out of football and keep this that, but when we talk about football and we talk about what it represents, we talk about the inclusivity of it, we talk about the people that contribute to it, that make our game what it is. It's the very thing that Sir Jim Ratcliffe was criticising and wrongly saying that immigrants have colonised the UK. So I do think it brings our game into disrepute. I understand maybe the levels of punishment of what the FA can do versus what they can't do is an issue. What do they do? Fine him. He's a second most richest man. But I think that, like with Jose Mourinho with the Vinicius Junior situation, I think there is a way where powerful people or people with a say can show that they can make a stand, even if it's not necessarily going to leave a dent. I think they can show a precedence that no, we do take an issue to that, and I would have liked to have seen them do that. So I understand that they probably wasn't going to. I wasn't expecting them to, if I'm honest. I'm not shocked at that, but in the question of is it the correct decision from the FA, in terms of does it bring the game into disrepute, I think it does.
The problem is, however distasteful or deplorable you find Sir Jim Ratcliffe's comments, they are it's very difficult to prove that it brings anything into disrepute, isn't it? I don't
think it. Personally, I don't think it does, because our game and Manchester United Football Club and the Premier League is built off of foreign exports, players coming into this league, staff, fans around the world. That's what makes up our game. As much as people from down the road from the club or people from said area, but like Manchester is, like Manchester United said in the statement that they made, like our city is built off of a multitude of people. So I think to talk bad of that, like Sir Jim Ratcliffe did, with factually wrong information, because it wasn't just an opinion he put forward, he put down factually incorrect information, misinformation, as well as offending so many. I absolutely think it brings the game into disrepute. I do. I don't think it's a grey area. I think it's really black and white, personally.
Yeah, I am surprised. I'm sort of surprised that it hasn't happened. I'm surprised that there hasn't been more of a clampdown on that sort of language being used by some.
I think they can make an example of him.
I just wonder if, however deplorable it is, it's his opinion. Can that be?
Well, yeah, because your words, when you that they said, they've also reminded him of. It says they've reminded him of his responsibilities as a participant in English football. So what they're saying is you don't mind if someone in English football is using this type of language, is how I read that.
And I suppose he's doing so via the lens of being the owner of Manchester United.
Exactly. This is a significant role in the football pyramid. You always talk about the institution of Manchester United, what that represents. You talk about the 20 Premier League teams at the elite level of our footballing pyramid, from grassroots right up to the Premier League. He's an elite owner, co-owner. And that is your views that can offend so many. So the fact that they've got to remind him of what his responsibilities are as a participant, that shows you that they do take some heed to what has been said. So, yeah. So I just feel like there could have been more done from them. But Manchester United do take on Everton after a draw against West Ham. This is going to be a difficult game for us. This is going to be a difficult game. There are no easy games in the Premier League, as we know. I think that I don't think that Everton will approach the game too dissimilarly to how West Ham did in terms of allowing Man United to have the ball. But I think they will try and sort of put it on Man United a little bit more. They're a better team.
I think you need to win this one as well. I do. Off the back of the fairly underwhelming result against West Ham,
which we did well to take something out of it, considering how poorly we played. But now, like you said, you've got to get the baton back, get the fire lit again. You've had a long layoff.
And do you know what it becomes as well, this fixture? I think, the jewel in the crown of the most underwhelming manager that Manchester United have probably ever had. And when I say the jewel in the crown, I mean sort of the reverse of that. Like the most memorable, dreadful performance under Ruben Amorim this season. I'm sure you've got plenty in your mind. People talk about Grimsby, the home of battered cod and whatever else.
Everton.
But it's Everton. Yeah. Everton against a 10-man Everton team.
From like the 12th minute.
10-man, by the way, because they've been fighting one another.
They did it so
like it was a perfect opportunity to win a game. They hate each other and they're down to 10 men and you didn't win. This is a great opportunity for Michael Carrick to go, do you know, watch what happens now in the reverse of this fixture. You've seen the Amorim situation at Old Trafford versus Everton. Now watch what the Michael Carrick version of Manchester United are about.
Yeah, we've had a long time off because we've had our national break, as I call it. But Michael Carrick has been discussing the impact of not playing for nearly 2 weeks.
We're trying to make it useful, the break that we've had at the moment. I think we're trying to make in different ways. I think it was important that I think when there's change and the kind of the month or so that we had together, I think it was important for everyone to have a couple of days to digest that and take it in. And moving forward, the fixtures have thrown up some mixture of gaps between games, really. So just adjusting and adapting, and we'll see what kind of comes of that.
Michael Carrick, interim head coach. Well, that's not actually the title. It's head coach until the end of the season, but interim head coach as it stands. Sort of saying they're trying to use that to their advantage, basically. It is a bit of a double-edged sword with the load of time off thing because, we played against West Ham and it was like that was the first time we had to play quite close together from the Spurs game. And it's like, playing every 3 or 4 days, you can be fatigued. But then if you if you get a long period, you get a bit rusty and you're not in the rhythm of playing. It depends how you look at it. To me, no excuses. Man United have had players could go off for warm weather training, go on holiday, not holiday, but get a bit of a break, recharge the batteries. People like Casemiro are in the twilight years who need more time to recover. No problem for him. Harry Maguire came off in the last game, a little bit of a strain. He should be all right again. There's no excuses. Everyone should be fighting fit and ready. And I think for me, the big one I want to ask you as a neutral was, should Benjamin Sesko start this game? Because he hasn't started under Michael Carrick. Saved us against Fulham. Back to the bench after that. Off of the bench against West Ham. Saved us there. And actually, when you look at the game against West Ham United, it probably was asking for somebody like a Benjamin Sesko to maybe start. But in hindsight, I get it. 1-4 on a bounce before we got there, so you understand why he didn't. But should he start this game?
No, he shouldn't. No, he shouldn't.
No? Why not?
No, he shouldn't.
Because he's a super sub.
Because I think that Michael Carrick, if you try and explore what Michael Carrick has done at Manchester United, if you try and analyse exactly what he has done, what he's done so differently to Ruben Amorim, a lot of it is basic. A lot of it is get Kobe Mainoo on the pitch. Make sure that the best players are playing for Manchester United. Make sure that players are playing in their rightful position. Make sure that Bruno Fernandes is in his most advanced, most favourite position. And a lot of that can be seen. But I think one part of the brilliance of Michael Carrick, and I do think that what he's done at Manchester United a lot of the time, you think about that performance against Manchester United, I do think it is brilliant. Against City, absolutely. Against City, against Arsenal, brilliant.
Yep.
So I think a lot of what he's done has been excellent. But one thing that he has done that I think people aren't necessarily talking about, it is the tutelage of Benjamin Sesko. Like, if you compare Benjamin Sesko under Ruben Amorim to Benjamin Sesko under Michael Carrick, it's chalk and cheese. And part of what Carrick has done is back him, nurture Sesko, appreciate that Sesko is young. Don't throw him to the wolves.
If Ruben Amorim didn't, he didn't start under Ruben either.
No, but Ruben Amorim spoke about him really negatively. Ruben Amorim was hostile to Sesko. Threw him to the wolves, I felt.
Did he?
Yeah, he did. He did.
When?
He expected a lot more from him. He said that he's not necessarily the player that he hoped he would be. Did
he?
Yeah, Amorim was harsh on Sesko. There's a huge difference.
What about United? When's that happened?
Yeah.
Am I missing something?
100%. There's a huge. You're
saying it with such conviction as well.
No, it's 100% true. It's 100%.
He said about Dorgu. He said he was anxious on the ball. But what I remember of Amorim on Sesko was that he was saying he'll be a player for the future. Benj wants to do too much.
Amorim was 100% really harsh on Sesko. And part of what Carrick has done is firstly not play him. Play Mbeumo up front.
Yeah.
To allow the pressure to be off Sesko. I think it's Travis Binion who has been working, somebody that's in Michael Carrick's backroom staff, has been working intensely with Sesko.
He's kept him locked in. He's kept Mateus Cunha locked in. He's been a super sub.
And honestly, I think a lot of what Michael Carrick has done, one of his best contributions as Manchester United manager is the form and protection of Benjamin Sesko.
Yeah, and I having listened to all what you said, I would start him though. I do think it is time to give him a start.
But it's working so well.
But the last game didn't, and I think you can look at saying, no, give him a run out.
The last game he came on and scored an equaliser.
Yes, but in terms of how we played without him on the pitch for most of the game, this is exactly why I think he should be given an opportunity. And it would be his first start. It's the fifth game, so it's the sixth game. He hasn't had a start. Try it.
But do you not quite like the idea of Mbeumo playing as a centre forward?
Yes, in certain games, but there's going to be different horses for different courses. I think against West Ham, it didn't really work with Cunha and Bruno through the middle, essentially at 4-4-2. And Mbeumo on the left didn't look as comfortable, so he killed in his game a little bit. I'm not sure. I just would give the kid a start. I think he's confident. See how it goes. If it goes wrong, mix it up. We've got options.
Trouble is, when somebody's this young, we saw it with Højlund.
Yeah.
I thought Ruben Amorim, actually, if you think about the way Ruben Amorim treated Højlund, young kid up front, just threw him in the deep end.
Yeah.
A lot of the time with these young centre forwards, they need nurturing.
They do need time, but that's what I'm saying. He's kept him on the bench for 5 games. Start him in the 6th.
Okay. Do you think he will start? What do you think will happen?
It's really difficult. I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't.
Yeah.
But I would like him to start. That is Monday night, 8 p.m. That is live on exclusive on talkSPORT as well, presented by Adrian Durham. Commentary from Jim Proudfoot and former Manchester United captain Steve Bruce. Give me a prediction for that one, Rory. Manchester.
I think Manchester United win.
Do you?
Yeah, I think you'll be back. I think you win well, 3-1.
Oh, do you? I'm a bit nervy. I'm going to say we nick it. I think Manchester United nick it 2-1. Next, we'll be asking, do players and managers have a duty to interact with fans and mascots?
Do you doubt that Jermaine can take Moses Atoma into the later rounds?
I think he's going to get knocked out. I do. I think I just know. And by the way, saying someone's going to get knocked out is not meant to be disrespectful. I'm not disrespecting Jermaine. I'm looking at the fight, looking at Moses Atoma, looking at what I've seen from Jermaine. And I think that ideally, I don't want to see an early fight. I want to see a good fight. I want to see Jermaine stick it on Moses Atoma. I want to see a good fight. And ultimately, we have an enjoyable evening watching two good fighters put something out. But I think Moses, I don't think he's been in with someone as quick and as fast and at this stage in his career. Going in with Anthony Joshua and Dillian White at their stages in their career is not the same going in with Moses. But on the other side of it, Moses isn't as experienced and as wise as those two fighters.
And that's
there's a trade-off. But I think, personally, with due respect to the man sitting next to me, I think he's going to get knocked out by Moses.
But there's nothing to suggest that he will get knocked out because he's never been knocked down, never been knocked out.
And I'm happy to be wrong.
No, but what I'm saying is he's been, yeah, absolutely. But I say he had been in at the time with Anthony Joshua. Yeah, he was on a rebuild and a comeback, but that kid can whack, and he's still very, very dangerous. And Jermaine took some flush shots from him.
But the big question about Anthony at that fight, and it's always been about Anthony, was he gun shy? And there was,
he was letting the shots go.
There was an allegation at that fight. He was getting himself through that fight. Moses Atoma won't navigate this fight.
We'll see. See, that's the difference between skills and just watching it. I made him fight that way. It wasn't that he had to fight.
Fair enough.
I made it that way.
Fair enough.
It's different when you're in the ring.
Of course.
You know, so like everybody expects Moses to come out and fight this way or do this and do that. I won't let him.
No.
He's going to have to try. He's going to have to try and try again.
Frank Football, it's Friday here on talkSPORT. Hope you guys are having a good evening. Me and Rory certainly are. We're going to be with you until 10 p.m. Before we hand over to the boys on the sports bar, we're going to be breaking down and previewing every Premier League game. We've got a load more fixtures to come your way. Now, the latest episode of How to Win the World Cup is now live as hosts Matt Ford and Lloyd Griffiths sit down with journalist Henry Winter to discuss his experience of covering 9 World Cups in a row and how much the media can influence what happens on the pitch. Here's Henry and Matt discussing England's unofficial anthem, It's Coming Home, and why it shouldn't be taken so seriously by rival nations.
I think there was more entitlement and more arrogance going into tournaments amongst the media, amongst the players and the fans. I don't think there is that entitlement now. I think the media, I think there's an element of perspective amongst the fans. I think when people sing It's Coming Home, I think they sing it as much as a lament and a reflection of their own support. Like I wrote a book
It's a bit of a joke as well, isn't it?
It is a joke.
It's kind of ironic.
Honestly, I wish I could just at the start of every tournament say to all my international colleagues, it is a lament. It's not about arrogance. We don't think we own the World Cup. We would like it, but we know because of penalties, because of issues here and there.
We're the comedians.
Exactly.
We're the comedians in the tournament.
Henry Winter there on How to Win the World Cup, which is available wherever you get your podcasts or on the talkSPORT YouTube channel. Got a lot of time for Henry. Really enjoy his journalism. He's top man. Do you agree about the song and how other nations see it? Does it come across a little bit cocky or entitled, that song, or is it just what Henry was saying? We don't literally mean it's just an embodiment of our support and it's what we do before the tournament.
What's it supposed to? Well, if and I mean, people love to take offence about everything now. If you do take offence when England fans sing "Football's Coming Home," what are you saying? You're saying that we're saying that we're going to win it. We're going to win the tournament. Is that what we're doing when we sing that? If that is what we're doing, that's what you're supposed to do. That's what football fans up and down the country.
Everyone thinks they're going to win it.
Everyone goes into it like Queen's Park Rangers sing they're by far the greatest team the world has ever seen, as do teams up and down the land. You're supposed to do that. You're supposed to genuinely believe that you have a chance of winning it. You're supposed to big yourselves up.
Yeah.
If you don't, who's going to?
I agree. It's just a bit of fun, and we sing it every single summer. There's a tournament, and we will continue to do it. Right, it's time now to talk about players. Do players and managers have a duty? Are they duty bound to interact with fans and mascots whenever they see him? If you're watching via your TV or on YouTube, you'll see a video from last Friday's game where Chelsea players failed to acknowledge the Hull mascots ahead of the game. What did you make of it, Roy?
To answer your question, which I think is a good one, your question there was, do people have a duty?
Yeah.
And I would say no. I would say they don't have a duty. You don't have a duty to be respectful.
Yeah, it's not.
You don't have a duty to be convivial. You don't have to extend a courtesy. But it's about just being a good person. It's about just being like a normal person on some level. Like this clip of the Chelsea players ignoring the kids. I don't even want to make it specifically about that. It looks horrible, but if you want, you can find excuses about that.
Yeah.
Did they see them? The kids were kind of hid around the corner. The players are kind of walking through. I don't know. I don't understand personally how you can be so in a vacuum that you aren't aware of a load of kids who clearly idolise you.
Yeah.
To quickly go out of your way and do nothing, by the way. You know what it would take to make those kids so happy and to make the clip actually a really beautiful one rather than quite a torturous one? Just do a high five down the line.
Just keep your hand.
Just do a high five down the line. That's all it takes.
Yeah, I think with this one, it's about just being more aware of their surroundings. Of course, it's game day. You're locked in. A lot of them walking with headphones, listening to music, probably in their own world. They haven't done it on purpose.
But then just be a normal person.
Yeah, exactly. Just that's what I'm saying. And I think a lot of them would have seen the kids, and I think it's quite poor. I think it's quite poor. But worse though is who thought, from the social media team, who didn't look at that video and go, before we post this in terms of game day and game faces, it looks pretty bad that the young mascots.
No, it's a miserable. It's a miserable video.
It really was bad. And then on Sunday evening, this Arsenal fan tried to get Mikel Arteta to sign a shirt for his son. This is also being played if you're watching us via your TV or on YouTube. But if you're listening, what happened was after Arsenal played their home game, a fan was asking Mikel Arteta, who's in the car with his wife. I'm not sure if one of his children in the back there. I can't quite see. I think this is different. I think this is where football fans become entitled.
Agreed.
And I think this is where we get above. I say we because I wouldn't do this, but I've got to say us as football fans get above our stations. He's with his family in his car, in his private property, and you don't have a God-given right. He's begging him at the window, please, Mikel, my son wants this, my son wants this. He doesn't know what happens if he puts down that window with his wife and his child in the car.
Mate, you're completely correct. This geezer who's banging on the windscreen of Mikel Arteta. This geezer is completely out of order.
Call the cameras. Look,
this geezer is completely out of order. This geezer is getting it completely wrong. Like, you do not have a right to demand a signature when a footballer is in a private vehicle trying to go home off the back of a fairly underwhelming result.
It's uncomfortable viewing, actually. I'm looking at this now.
That fellow is a disgrace. That fellow is a disgrace. Like, Mikel Arteta has a complete right to ignore that. There are situations where clearly footballers are allowed to have an element of privacy. They clearly do not have to do what you want them to do. They clearly do not have to sign your belongings. You do not have a God-given right to demand a certain thing from a footballer because you happen to recognise them or support the club that they play for and are an employee of. Of course not. But the two things are very different. The kids just be... Look, I'll give you just a really swift example.
Yeah.
It's half term at the moment.
Yep.
I do a podcast here at talkSPORT with Jason Cundy.
Yep.
talkSPORT Bet, the podcast.
And Ryan.
Not on talkSPORT. And Ryan, exactly. I had no childcare yesterday, so my 7-year-old daughter, Clementine, came to work with me.
Yeah.
Which...
Did you enjoy it?
I really did, right? She's great company these days. Like, when she was younger, she was a nightmare, but she's great. She's great company these days. So she came to work with me. I'm on the podcast with Jason Cundy and Ryan. They both made her feel so welcome by doing very little. It wasn't a lot of effort for them. No. But Cundy gives her a high five. She does it, and he goes, God, I hurt my hand. She then suddenly thinks that she's Superwoman. She's over the moon by it. Ryan made sure that she kind of got her makeup done, which involved nothing but, just like ceremoniously having her makeup done. And she had the best day ever.
Yeah.
It took nothing from Cundy. It took nothing out of Ryan from talkSPORT Bet in order to do that.
Yeah.
And it gave her a fantastic day. I just feel like it just extend an element of courtesy to these kids. We saw an example with the Chelsea players, and I feel like the Chelsea players should have done more. Of course they should. We saw an example where a Newcastle United mascot at Anfield, like no Newcastle player took responsibility for her. I just would never leave a kid stood. I just don't understand how there can be this disparity between footballers and just normal.
Yeah, it's in some cases, or many cases, it's to do with sort of being out of touch with reality. And then I think, look, when we talk about these things, you want to look at sort of both sides of how you can arrive there. And footballers, obviously they're revered, they're seen as role models, even if maybe that's not a good idea to idolise footballers, because they are just people. But they're there to do a job. They're locked in for game day. They have to do this all the time. Every kid wants an autograph. Every person's trying to hold a shirt saying, please send this message to my kids. So somebody always wants something from them. And sometimes, I guess, from a footballer's perspective, it can become like what Mikel Arteta had, where it's invasive. But this, I agree. And this is what I'm saying. I agree.
If Cole Palmer is out for dinner in a restaurant with his missus, you have absolutely no right to approach that table.
Yeah.
And if you do approach it and he's blunt with you, he is correct. You do not approach anyone.
Mascots are there for that interaction. That's what you're...
Mate, and the deplorable money-making, grabby approach of football fans, the amount of money swilling around in the game now, they've paid for it.
Yeah.
Like, do you know there is something terrible that's happened at Chelsea? When I was a kid, I could get autographs. And do you know I've got an autograph book from when I was really young? And I remember we played Newcastle United in the Cup. Les Ferdinand scored a last-minute equaliser. It would have been like really young, mate. I'd have been like 94, 95, something like that. And I'm standing outside the Newcastle coach, and I found this autograph book that I've had the other day, right? And I've got Terry McDermott's autograph, I've got Les Ferdinand, I've got Keith Gillespie. They've all signed this book as they've got off the coach. Do you know what's happened at Chelsea now? Where you used to stand by the East Stand to get that autograph,
you can't.
They've monetised it. They've rolled out a red carpet. They've rolled out a red carpet, which is obviously blue. But to get into the bit where they get off the coach to get your autograph signed, it's ticketed.
Right. Yeah. That's the way, and that is, games gone all the way the game's going.
In fact, that's just
that's a whole other show.
It tells you quite how grim it all is, doesn't it? Yeah.
Right, over on talkSPORT 2, it's half-time between Blackburn and Preston, where it's 0-0. But next here on talkSPORT, it's time for everyone's favourite feature, Too Good, Too Bad.
They've changed the manager, which is what the fans wanted. I was at their last home game against Newcastle United, and it just felt like the players were completely on the floor, just didn't have the answers, didn't look interested or committed to the manager's plan. How will it be different under Igor Tudor, and has he had enough time to work with his players, Crook?
I'm intrigued by this appointment because obviously one of the main factors is he's proven in the past that he can come into a team in a difficult situation, give them an uplift, put wins on the board, which obviously Spurs need to steer themselves away from relegation danger. But as Southampton found with Ivan Juric last season, who had a similar profile, there's a big difference between doing that in European leagues and coming into the Premier League and doing it. I do think you're right. I think the atmosphere around the stadium will be a lot more positive on Sunday than it has been previously. I think the change of manager, the fact it's not Thomas Frank anymore as much as anything, makes this a more difficult fixture for Arsenal. But what happens if they go behind early? What happens if they lose this game? That lightning rod effect that the Spurs hierarchy are obviously hoping for suddenly evaporates quite quickly.
Yeah, it's slightly different in terms of the profile of the manager. I mean, you keep comparing Juric to Tudor, but Juric basically only managed teams in Italy, Genoa, and Hellas Verona down the bottom of the table. Igor Tudor has managed Marseille, Lazio, and Juventus. So it is a slightly different.
How many of those were in relegation trouble when he took over? Because
And they're off. Win a trip to Cheltenham, Alan Brazil style, on talkSPORT.
This is Fank Football. It's Friday with me, Flex, and Rory Jennings. We're going to be with you until 10 p.m. Right, fancy joining talkSPORT at the famous Cheltenham Festival. Gold Cup Day. Do you want to go there for that? We're giving away the ultimate hospitality experience for two on Friday, March the 13th, including VIP access, a slap-up lunch, and a complimentary bar. Head to talksport.com/win to enter. But you know what, Rory? I like doing this. It's time for this. Too good, too bad.
Too good? Todd Bowley has become our sporting director. The man's never worked in European football before. So the fact that he's now in charge of this recruitment drive fills me a little bit with fear. Too bad. Going out and signing with Richarlison, it's huge, isn't it? He will certainly score goals for them.
I always love listening to that.
Can you change that package?
Yeah, put some of your even worse takes on
even
there.
Worse than
Richarlison. You've got some bad ones. Yeah. You've got some even worse ones than that. This is Too Good, Too Bad, where me and Rory Jennings take it in turns to pick out one player we're looking forward to see play this weekend, and one player or group of players or individual manager who needs a performance. Rory, let's start on the lighter side. Who are you looking forward to seeing play?
I'm looking forward to seeing the unknown quality that is Tottenham. Like it's a completely unknown force, isn't it? Like, who knows?
Under this manager.
Who knows? Like under Thomas Frank, they would have got battered in this game. Under Igor Tudor, who knows?
It feels like you go, they can't get any worse. There has to be something, surely.
Yeah. And also, do you know sometimes it's like if you know for a fact that you're going to lose under one manager, you might as well roll the dice and have a go on with a different manager, right? Like there is a chance now that Tudor gets it right. I saw an image of him and the Tottenham squad all out for dinner. It looks like the team bonding is going well. We know that it was a fractured camp under Thomas Frank. Remember, obviously, when it was obviously problematic. I think when Jed Spence was substituted or whatever. So no, I think watching Tottenham and learning who they are, and obviously doing it in the most brilliant and massive of circumstance, it's going to be a great fixture. What about you? Who are you looking forward to seeing?
I'm going to go Erling Haaland.
Why?
Because I think he needs to be in the goals to make sure Manchester City do what they need to do, which is start their season essentially now. Like, I know that's a bit disingenuous because, like you said, the heroics at Anfield and he scored a decisive penalty there. But, like, now, this is the one now. This is the one where, like, right, let's get busy. And I think he's going to be hungry. I think he's going to be aggressive. I think he's going to be in the mood. And, that's why I'm looking forward to see what he has in store. Let's talk about who needs a performance, Rory. Who are you looking at saying they need it? They need a game.
Well, do you know what? It's relegation. I'm thinking, and the player that I've gone for is Morgan Gibbs-White. I just think that if Forest are to survive, I think they have a good chance of survival as well.
Fantastic performance against Fenerbahce.
Great result. Yeah, great result. But if Forest are to survive, the only way they're going to do it is if Morgan Gibbs-White finds real form. And it'll be interesting to see how he gets on, because they've obviously got a massive fixture this weekend against Liverpool. They've beaten them once already this season.
Yeah,
Liverpool found a bit of form as well, though.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a very interesting one. But I'm obviously finding the title race totally enthralling. But the relegation battle is
getting fascinating now.
Wild.
Yeah, because we know the two spots are gone to Burnley and Wolves, but the other one is...
also it goes up... You're looking at... It's one from about 6 teams. Which is a wonderful, wonderful run-in. So, and I think Forest are going to get away with it. I think Forest will find enough points And if they do, Morgan Gibbs-White's going to have a very good end to the season, in my opinion.
Yeah, agreed. For the people who need a performance, I say people, you give it away straight there. I'm saying all of Arsenal. Whole team. I need to see what you're made of. We need to see what you're made of. Arsenal fans who have been put through so much stress and PTSD over the last 22 years and more recently the last 3 years coming second. They need to see a reaction from their squad after that disgusting performance against Wolves.
I think Arteta. Arteta
Arteta
is
he's
the embodiment
the
of
orchestrator
it.
for it. But the play, do you know what? Yes, but the players, man, stand up, break the mold.
Yeah, but
stand up and show it.
Are they allowed to?
They're 2-0 up.
But are they allowed to? What when you're 2-0 up at the team that are bottom of the league?
Yeah, but
why
David,
are you not going 5-0 up?
I hear that, but at 2-0 up, if it's not quite working because you're not allowed, David Raya, don't come out and try and grab the ball off of Gabriel when he's going to header it. Don't let the pressure get to you. That's just pressure. It went down to 2-1. See it out. I need to see minerals. Don't let Tottenham put it on you. Because there's one thing about the game plan of win the game by 2, 3, 4, go at them. This ain't that. This is North London derby, mate. This is on the players. This is cross the white line. Don't let Tottenham outrun you. Don't let Tottenham fight harder than you. Don't let them win more duels than you. Don't let them have more quality than you.
And if it becomes that, though, I think Tottenham...
Exactly. That's why it's on the players.
Under a new manager, I think Tottenham...
And when I say all of Arsenal, Arteta is including that, to be fair. So I'm saying the whole... I'm talking about Albert with the plug-in AirPods.
Yeah.
Is it him?
Yeah.
Wired AirPods, him.
Yeah,
I'm talking about him as well. The set piece, man. All of them.
Yeah, Jova.
Because if they lose this game or even draw, mate, curtains.
If they drop points in this game, I think it's over.
Yeah,
I think it is actually over because that would mean that in the last 3 games against Brentford, Wolverhampton Wanderers, and Tottenham, 3 teams who could all go down. Well, no, 2 teams who could go down, and Brentford is a game where they should be winning.
Yeah,
they would have got 3 points.
Yeah, and listen, Spurs could have been in the need of performance as well. By the way, I know we've explained for different reasons that if they lose, this is not it's not the end of the world. But my God, you just got a new manager. You need to start the bounce. The Spurs fans, what we haven't really legislated for is how toxic it will be if they take another hiding off Arsenal. What's been lost in all of this? Igor Tudor's new and Thomas Frank's gone and Arsenal been a bit rubbish. What's lost is they usually lose this fixture and badly. If Arsenal romp them, Spurs fans won't know where to turn. We just haven't allowed ourselves to talk about it yet because there's been other sort of headlines that are bigger than that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now, if Arsenal win, look what happened in the reverse fixture. If Arsenal did that, which I don't think they will, but let's say they won comfortably 2-0, 3-0, dusted them down. Spurs, awful. Mate, Monday morning, you're going to get them same Spurs fans saying, we got rid of Frank and it's even worse. That's what's going to happen. Get Igor out.
Yeah.
Tudor, get him out. Yeah. What is this? I'd rather Harry Redknapp. Call Harry Redknapp now.
Imagine.
Do you know what I mean? Get Robbie Keane now.
Mate, this is going to go crazy. It's going to be such a good weekend of football. I cannot wait for it.
It's going to be brilliant. It is. I can't wait to see it as a neutral. Right, the second half of Blackburn and Preston is 0-0. That's about to get underway. talkSPORT. But next up here, we'll look at the other weekend's Premier League games, starting with Chelsea hosting Burnley tomorrow afternoon.
But when you hear these comments that he's come out with now, to say he cannot get the best out of the players that have come in, if that those words just come out of his mouth, then as an owner, you've got no choice now. You have to say, like, okay, he's coming out now publicly and saying he can't get the best out of top players as well, by the way. Brendan Johnson is a very good player. Okay, you can't get the best out
Is
of
he
him.
daring the board to sack him?
It sounds
100%.
It sounds like it. And by the way, I know that they missed out on Dwight McNeil. That deal didn't quite get over the line on deadline day. But there was a lot of optimism in the Palace hierarchy because of the addition of Brennan Johnson, because Jurgen Strand-Larsen has come in and obviously scored a couple of excellent goals. Guessond as well. And they kept Mateta. He's not fit at the moment, but should be back sometime soon. They feel there are more than enough weapons in that Palace team to be winning games of football, and one winning 15 is not good enough.
It feels like he's playing chicken a little bit with the hierarchy, isn't he? Because he's saying, I'm not good enough at the moment. I can't do this job. It's very hard for me, blah, blah, blah. And Palace are in a situation where they're obviously like, well, you've already said you're going to leave at the end of the season. You've got a contract to fulfill. You need to fulfill that. Yeah. We're not just going to pay you up for the sake of paying you up so you can have a 3-month holiday and prepare yourself for a new job. Quite rightly so, by the way. But at the same time, Palace are in a predicament where they've won 1 game in 15. They might go out of Europe if they don't buck their ideas up next Thursday. And they don't want to lose to Wolves on Sunday either, because if that happens, they could find themselves in a relegation battle. So they're in a sort of catch-22 situation. He knows that, and he's daring them, Gabby.
Yeah, but in that press conference, he's gonna lose the fans, those that were still standing by him. He's going to lose the ownership.
Life after football. For a lot of players, it means going into punditry. Some turn to coaching or working in the game in other ways. But what about the rest? Some former footballers turn their sights away from the game, and there are a few big surprises. First up, from rainbow flicks to pancake flips. Ex-Chelsea and Southampton defender Ken Monku switched up his footballing career to buy a Dutch pancake house. He bought out the shop, which had been his favourite pancake spot as a child, and before long he was mixing the batter and getting behind the stove. Next, Everton legend Thomas Gravesen swapped out the high stakes of the Premier League for those of the poker room. He made over 150 appearances for the Toffees and won the Scottish Premier League with Celtic. Turned out the Danish international was pretty darn good at poker. He racked up a reported £100 million from his Las Vegas adventures. Remember former Chelsea goalkeeper Petr Cech? Turns out football nets weren't the only goals he was pretty handy in front of. After retirement, he became a goaltender in ice hockey. Same skills, very different surface. And he even won a Division 2 title with Guildford Phoenix. For ex-Liverpool centre-back Daniel Agger, it wasn't just fancy footwork that was in his blood. He was also pretty good with his hands. The Denmark international turned to tattoo artistry after he hung up his boots. He'd qualified as a skin artist while at Anfield, and he then became the co-owner of his own tattoo company as well. It's not all glamour for ex-pros, though. 1966 World Cup winner Ray Wilson set up a very different kind of business. He became an undertaker after he retired. Finally, not many people can say they've won both a World Cup and starred in an Oscar-winning film. In fact, there's only one person in the entire world who can say that. Frank Leboeuf, the former Chelsea defender, was part of the 1998 France squad who won the World Cup. He ended up marking Brazil's Ronaldo in the final and helped his side to a 3-0 win. But Leboeuf had already begun acting on the side while he was playing football, and his biggest role came some years after his retirement when he landed the part of a doctor in the Stephen Hawking biopic The Theory of Everything.
I embrace the career of acting, so I want to learn more. So seeing lots of movies is a part of my job.
To be honest, with all the dramatic diving in the game these days, there's probably tons of ex-pros who've got the acting skills to make it in Hollywood.
So good to have the Premier League back live on talkSPORT.
Go on, here's Caicedo! Edge of the area, driving the ball home and driving Chelsea into a 4-1 lead. Anthony up to the edge of the box, into the box, finds a shot in. It's 2-2, Jadon Anthony, 44th minute of the game.
talkSPORT, the home of football soul.
This is Frank Football. It's Friday with me, Flex, and Rory Jennings. We're going to be with you up until 10 p.m. The boys on the Sports Bar will be waiting to take your calls, Adam Cattrall and Carlton Cole. We're going through all the Premier League games of this weekend. It's time now for the chance of Chelsea against Burnley to talk to you about that, Rory. It's that Liam Rosenior, since he's come in, has done okay. He's been fairly consistent in the league.
I think up until now he's done really well. Really well.
Yeah, he has. Bit of a blip against Leeds last time out in the Premier League. 2-0 up, should really be, getting over the line, but you've got some naivety in your squad, like you always say. Running it close against West Ham at home, having to come back from 2 down to show character. So, what have you made of Liam Rosenior overall? You just touched on it there, saying he's done really well.
I think up until now, look, I didn't like the idea of Rosenior getting the Chelsea job, and whatever I said at the time that people really seem to get the hump about, it was completely correct. I said that it was the most undeserving appointment, and that's true. He didn't deserve the appointment. It wasn't one that you could rationalise on any sense, and he got the job only because he's a company man. He's a Mr. Blueco employee, and he got the job for that reason. That doesn't mean that I don't wish him well, and up until now he's done brilliantly. But if you look at the fixtures, if you look at the teams that we've played under Rosenior, the fixture list has been incredibly kind, right?
We're going to find out after this.
We're going to find out. We play Burnley.
Burnley, and then after that it's half.
Yeah. After Burnley, which again demonstrates quite how luxurious it's been since he's got there. Apart from playing Arsenal in the Cup, it's basically been as perfect as it could be. We played Crystal Palace when they were in a terrible state. We played West Ham United when they were in a terrible state. We've obviously played Wolverhampton Wanderers. We've played Leeds. All fixtures that you would look at and say Chelsea should win almost regardless. It starts now. We play Burnley, another example of a team that Chelsea should play. So, in fact, Rosenior has played West Ham, Leeds, Burnley, Wolves. It's
all favourable games.
Oh, yeah,
he didn't win all of them, but one all but one.
But after
Arsenal,
Burnley, it goes
Villa,
wild. After Burnley, it goes
Newcastle,
wild. Both Manchester clubs. It's both Manchester clubs. Liverpool still to come. Obviously, Tottenham when we relegate them on the penultimate day. So no, we're going to find out exactly who he is, exactly who Rosenior is, exactly how good he is. Not necessarily Burnley, but after Burnley.
What players have you got some praise for at the minute in Chelsea?
Well, I feel like what he's done well, Rosenior, is he's managed to sort of elevate everyone. I feel like there is a togetherness. Like I've never really rated a player like Enzo Fernandez as highly as everybody else. But
seeing a bit now.
Yeah, I think that he's got him playing well. He's got like João Pedro.
He's looking good, João.
Yeah, he's got João Pedro playing as one of the better forwards in the league now.
I think Neto's world class now.
Who said Neto's world?
Liam Rosenior.
Liam Rosenior said Neto's world class.
Yeah. Said it after,
that's up there. That's up there with the manage. That's up there with man. Yeah.
Aging men, mate.
Yeah, Neto's not a world class footballer. He's a very good player, but he's not.
He said he's world class. That's what he said.
Yeah, look,
but that's how he gets the bet. See, so I bet he walked into Cobham the next day, 10 feet tall.
Yeah, look, I don't think it's a bad managerial strategy. I remember when Pep Guardiola sort of first arrived at City, he was comparing Phil Foden to Lionel Messi.
Yeah.
Now we know that Phil Foden is nowhere near as good as Lionel Messi and never will be.
But feel good.
But it made Phil feel good.
Just on Burnley though, after their comeback win against Palace, which was incredible, really. 2-0 down. Can they stay up, or is it still done in it?
No, I feel like it's done. I think it's about as done as it can be for Burnley and for Wolves. Like, it's going to take something spectacular from Burnley, and I think they pretty much have to beat us.
Yeah,
don't you?
Yeah, to stay.
They kind of have to marry up the first win with the win at Stamford Bridge, which is practically impossible for them, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's going to be famous last words. That's going to be a viral hit. Is there someone recording that?
Yeah, that is a famous last words. You got a lot of those. Let's move on to Sunday, 2 p.m. kickoff. Nottingham Forest taking on Liverpool. Vita Pereira's first Premier League game, having come into the Forest job. The Forest on their 4th manager of the season. I'm not going to lie, I didn't give him a chance against Fenerbahce away. I thought, that's a tough ask.
Do you know what it does, though?
And it just galvanised 3-0 winners.
But it just
place would be rocking.
Just shows you the power of the Premier League when it comes to like European competition.
Yeah.
Like, we're just so strong. We've just got so much money in this league, and I don't like it. I don't want it to be this way. But the power that we have in European competitions, it just shouldn't be this. Like, we shouldn't be able to just go. Like, the fairly abject teams in our league go and dominate European European competition. Like two of the worst teams in the Premier League last year were in the European final together.
Mental, isn't it?
Crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is. How do you think they do against a Liverpool side that look a bit resurgent? We'll talk a bit more about them in a second. But in terms of the proposition they can give Liverpool, first home game, how dangerous of a game is this for Liverpool?
It's tricky. You don't ever really want to play a team when they've got a new manager. The only reason why it's not so significant, like it's far more significant at Tottenham than it is at Forest, because Forest have a manager every other week. Yeah. They have a new manager bounce every other week, and there's only so many new manager bounces. Like the reason that a new manager bounce is impactful is because it's rare.
Yeah, you're supposed to do it once.
Yeah,
not 4 times.
Exactly.
Or 3 times. On a Liverpool, from a Liverpool perspective, Wayne Rooney said earlier that Arne Slot lacks aura to be the Liverpool boss. Is that fair criticism? Do you like a bit of that? He lacks aura.
I think he does. I think he does lack aura. And look, I love Wayne Rooney. When Wayne Rooney speaks, I listen.
Yeah.
The reason why I would contest this though is because there is no negotiation as to whether Arne Slot is capable of managing a club like Liverpool. The geezer won the league.
Correct.
He won the league in his first foray into the league. He stopped Manchester City winning 4 in a row. He stopped Arsenal winning their first for 2 decades. It wasn't his league to win. He reinvigorated Mohamed Salah. And with some managers, you have to ask a question. Can you see a world where Liam Rossini wins a league at Chelsea? Can you see a world where Michael Carrick wins a league? You have to ask these questions. And even if you bring in a new manager, say you bring in I think probably Luis Enrique is the best manager in the world at the moment. Say Manchester United appoint him. I have to still say to you,
can you see
it? You don't have to ask the question with Arne Slot. You've seen it. The picture's there. He is the reigning champion.
Yeah. So I think with some of I just think being compared to Klopp is a tough ask, and the relationship that Klopp built, the camaraderie and the feeling that he connection he built with the fans alongside that type of football, with the character that he is. Of course, he can't replicate that. That's just nor should he try to. But I think Liverpool fans. Listen, last time I was hosting on here, it was your show actually, and you wasn't on, and they just lost to Bournemouth, and Liverpool fans calling up saying he's got to go. He hasn't found a way. The football's boring. We might not even get into the Champions League, which is still a proposition for Liverpool, by the way, currently. So
do you not think, right, when you talk about Liverpool like this, do you not think that you should extend a courtesy to a manager that's won the league that says as long as you make it into the Champions League?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they should be sacking him.
And Wayne Rooney talking about him lacking aura, it's probably true.
Yeah,
he's probably
just he's a different type of guy.
He's kind of got that Dutch control thing going on, rather than he's not particularly handsome. He's also that like shiny head, like it's. Like, if it was more
Pep's got a shiny head.
No, Pep's got more of a matte finish. What? Don't you think? Pep's isn't shiny. Pep's doesn't glisten.
Rather than metallic.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
I think it's fair to say that Pep's head has more of a matte finish to it. Look, his head's on the telly now. Pep's, that is a more of a matte finish head.
No, but it's because of the beard. Because the beard connects to it.
But it doesn't shine the way Arne Slot shines.
So what? But like you said, it didn't stop him winning the league. So what are you talking about?
No, but you're talking about lacking aura, and I was trying to understand what Wayne Rooney.
Yeah, but Ruben Amorim had loads of aura. He had all the gear on and everything. I went for it. He was in the Moncler. He was in the Dior.
If we're trying to understand,
he was in everything, and I'm like, yes, aura.
If we're trying to understand why Arne Slot lacks aura, according to Wayne Rooney, and I think Wayne Rooney's correct, he does lack aura.
It's not because of his shiny head. It's because of how he is and how he connects with the fans.
It's because of a lot of things. It's because of
it's not his head.
It's not only his head. I'm saying it's down to a lot of things. I'm saying it's down.
You're tired.
It's quite. Yeah, it's gone in a direction I didn't anticipate. To be fair, all I'm saying is, combine everything, including the lack of a matte finish on the head.
We're moving on. I'm not letting you do this. Give me a prediction. Yeah, actually, I didn't even ask you your prediction, Chelsea Burnley. Give me a prediction for Forest, Liverpool. If you can be sensible.
2-1 to Liverpool.
I'm going to go draw 1-1. I think Forest got something for them. Also, just really quickly, where did you stand on the debate with? I think I know where. That Jermaine had pennant with about John Terry and Virgil van Dijk.
Oh, it was great. I mean, it was great radio. It was great radio. Yeah. I mean, and the fact that John Terry replied is huge in itself. I don't quite see how anyone can compare John Terry to Virgil van Dijk. I just think that it's so clearly Terry.
I agree.
I just think it's like so clear.
Yeah.
And then I don't think it's Van Dijk either. You know, if you're the, I think if I were ranking centre halves, I would go John Terry is number one, and people seem to have forgotten quite how brilliant Terry was. They seem to see him as being a player that he was. Like John Terry would start Chelsea's attacks. John Terry's range of passing was better than Virgil van Dijk's. He would start Chelsea's attacks quite often with his weaker foot. His left foot over the top would start our attacks. He was so good on the ball. He was so good, so lethal in both boxes. And I think that it is Terry. And then after Terry, you also think you've also got to always factor in the calibre of striker that Terry was playing against. But after Terry, I would then say that Rio Ferdinand was better than Virgil van Dijk. I would say that Tony Adams was better than Van Dijk. I would say that Sol Campbell was better than Van Dijk.
Jaap Stam was.
Jaap Stam undoubtedly was better than Van Dijk.
Yeah.
Then I think it's probably Van Dijk.
Yeah.
But that makes him not in the top 5.
Yeah.
So I didn't quite understand it. And like, sadly, I'm not friends with John Terry. I don't know him. But you know, if I had his counsel, I'd say, John, you don't have to justify. Like,
yeah, but he kind of did and didn't. The way he did
he just sat there in front of the trophies,
yeah,
didn't he? Yeah.
I'm just gonna, and also said, you know, got.
Yeah, but him getting involved was great,
Yeah.
and Jermaine getting involved, like
It's good fun,
It was
man.
great
And
radio.
Jermaine,
It was great.
saw Jermaine the other day. He put, obviously, I couldn't find my my runners up medals or.
Yeah, no,
it
it was
really
funny. It was
and he's
great.
actually on the sports bar. Actually, I thought it would be.
Was he?
Can't call, but he's on after us actually. So we'll give him a little bit of stick on the way and saying, "What on earth were you thinking?" Right, Chelsea, Burnley. Actually, what's your scoreline for that?
I think we're beating 3-0.
Yeah, I'll go with that. 3-1 because you'll do something silly at the back.
Maybe.
West Ham United taking on Bournemouth. This is a big one. Can West Ham stay up? They're resurgent at the minute. Nuno's getting a tune out of them.
I think West Ham do stay up. I think West Ham do stay up. Like if you're winning, did you say what they've won 3 out of 5?
Yes,
they won 3 out of 6 or whatever it is. Yeah,
Sorry, not unbeaten in the last 5, but in the last 5, they've won 3, drawn 1, lost 1.
Yeah,
but out of the teams down the bottom, they've got the best form.
They're playing with real verve as well. You know, Somerville's found form at the right time. Jared Bowen's an excellent player. They're just a good. They're a good functional side now, and they have a good manager. A manager well versed in this. I think they will keep him up. Yeah. I think that they're going to be okay.
Do you think how do you think they do against Bournemouth?
I think they win. I think they have to win really. I think they certainly have to keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
But
what about Bournemouth actually? Because have they got better since Antoine Semenyo left? Because they're doing all right.
They've started to find, like, earlier in the season, I thought that he was getting away with it, Areola. Yeah. I thought he was really getting away with it. And we weren't really talking about them in the way that we should have been. Like, we should have been quite hostile.
3 wins in the last 5.
Yeah. No, they
turned it around, no wins.
He's a very good manager, isn't he? And, yeah, like, there was a time when I thought that they could have been relegated. They really struggled. There was a period of the season where they really struggled. And Areola was getting him wrong. But he steadied the ship, and he steadied the ship because he's a good manager. And they will now finish in the top half of the table, which is a huge achievement for a side like Bournemouth.
It is, to continually keep doing it as well. Right, there is some big breaking news tonight in the world of boxing, and that is that Conor Benn has left Matchroom and has signed with Zuffer Boxing. We'll be speaking to Adam Cattrall shortly on the show. But first, there's still 3 more Premier League games to look ahead to.
Mourinho, one of the best managers of our generation. But I'll tell you what, he's lost a lot of fans. He's lost a lot of neutral fans. And I just felt his comments were disgusting. For one, Vinicius Jr., if he wants to run to the corner flag and do a dance that a lot of Brazilian players do, Cunha danced when he scored against Arsenal, didn't receive racial abuse from anybody, any player. So Vinicius Jr. is allowed to dance. And also, Eusebio is one of our best ever players. This club cannot be racist. What does that mean? Because your best ever player was black, that means no one else can be racist to do with your football club. And also, no one says Benfica was a racist football club, did they? It was alleged that a player had been racist. So why is Mourinho protecting the football club when no one's said that Benfica are a racist football club? Very odd.
Well, Benfica are not a homogenous group, are they? They're made up of individuals, and Prestiani is his own individual, and he's the one who's accused of the racism. It's not like everyone's accusing the club of it. It just seems a little bit strange that now Benfica have come out in support of him, almost suggesting that there is sort of a defamation campaign against him. And the problem here is that we'll never be able to prove the contrary, because all you've got is eyewitness statements of people who say that they've heard it. But if he sits there and says, "Oh, I didn't say that," or "I didn't mean that," then there is very difficult to prove. Like lots of different cases across the world, if you're in a court of law, you have to prove it in order to punish.
Another eventful day in the Premier League.
Right footed over the wall, hits the bar, taps it by Watkins, 1-1.
Then McGruev, who does curve one in, and Calvert-Lewin throws himself at it and chests the cross into the bottom right-hand corner to wrong foot Ortega.
Live on talkSPORT, what a weekend of football we've got.
Frank Footballers Friday with me, Flex, and Rory Jennings. He's calmed down now. He's back in the game. He's back in the game after his antics before the break. We've got a few more Premier League games to preview. We're also going to be talking to Adam Cattrall with the big news that Conor Benn has left Matchroom. We're going to get an update on that for all you boxing fans out there. Let's turn our attention to Aston Villa versus Leeds United now. Aston Villa are 8 points off Arsenal with a game in hand. There's been talk at various different points of the season, because Aston Villa have done really well, about them being able to mount a serious title challenge and win this league. They were humbled by Arsenal in that 6-pointer when they lost, I think 4-1, I think it was on the day. Then went on a bit of bad form, a lot of injuries, but then Arsenal have started to slip off again. The question is could Villa enter the chat legitly?
I mean, I really hope so, but I don't think so. I would love that to happen. I would love it to become a 3-horse race. But every single time that you feel like Villa are going to do it, every single time it looks like there is an opportunity for them to really cement themselves as title challengers, they lose a silly game. And they drop points in a silly way. And you just think they're a brilliant team who are overperforming, but this probably isn't quite the time for them.
Yeah, I think that when Villa start getting towards the meat and on the bone of the Europa League, with the injuries that they've got, I think they'll probably take their eye off the ball a little bit, whereby it means they can't do anything like catch Arsenal or catch City. I think what's probably more likely to happen is for them to drop a few here or there. Not catastrophically, but drop a few here or there. And, maybe Man United could probably catch them. And I'm not just saying that biasly. I really do think
I think there is a huge...
Because we're not playing for anything else other than that. And when it starts getting techie for them, and like I said, Europa League, and they're favourites for that, in my opinion.
I think it's far more likely. It's far more likely that Manchester United or someone finishes in third than it is Aston Villa finishing first.
Yes.
Somebody catches Villa rather than Villa catching somebody.
Yeah. Do you think Villa... they've got another route into the Champions League, of course, by winning the Europa League, which is still difficult. Do you think they finish in the top 5?
Villa have to finish in the top 5 now. Yeah, and they will.
Yeah,
they will. Yeah,
Liverpool on 42 points in 6th.
Do you know what? I rate Unai Emery. I get quite a lot of stick
50 points.
from Arsenal fans because I rate Emery so highly. I've always have.
Yeah, because Arsenal fans ain't having it because they always think he came in and ruined it.
Yeah, they don't rate Emery.
He can't do anything.
They rate Arteta higher than Emery. They think Arteta is a better manager. I just think that's utter lunacy. I do. I just think it's idiotic to even say it. I don't even like saying it when I'm not agreeing with it.
That's how much challenging. Emery didn't get.
I know.
He went wrong for Emery.
Unai Emery
can't rewrite history. Arsenal. He was rubbish.
Unai Emery is a serial European trophy winner.
He is.
His record is incomparable to like Arteta. In a decade, maybe we can have a conversation as to who's better. But as of today, right now, Unai Emery is one of the best managers in the league, no doubt.
He is. But is the argument that when he goes to big clubs, no disrespect to Villa because they are a big club, but I'm talking about.
I know what you mean.
You know what I mean? Title ones that are looking to get back to winning titles when he was at PSG, etc. That there's an argument to be made there that's the threshold. The threshold is that he's at the perfect place, like a Villa, where he's got the run of the roost. That's the expectation. You know, when Aston Villa lost and got humbled by Arsenal 4-1 at the Emirates, the fans were like, yeah, you know, listen, we focus on the other cups and we didn't expect it anyway. At Arsenal, that's not that. They expect to win the league.
They do.
Different pressure.
And I agree, but Unai Emery...
Severe in that, like when he's winning the Europa League. And that's the level, though.
Yeah,
that's the level.
He's winning silver.
He can win the Europa League with Villa. That's the level.
I also feel
go and win the
his time
Champions
at
League, go
Arsenal-
and win the Premier League. Different. He hasn't proved that.
I also think his time at Arsenal though was not necessarily seen in as favourable light as it should have been. Like let's face it,
He was rubbish, Rory, man. I think we rewrite that. He was terrible.
I don't think he was. He had them in a European final. When you think about Arsenal's pitiful
Yeah, he
record
lost.
in Europe, yeah, but they got to a final.
And he's a European specialist. He lost.
They did, but they
lost.
got there though.
It's like Pochettino lost.
But Arsenal have a pitiful record in Europe.
They do.
And Unai Emery had them in a European final. But look, we're going over overall ground here.
Yeah.
I think Unai Emery is a top-tier manager. I really do.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to make this Villa team champions. But if he does...
Too much of a push.
It's too much of a push. They would effectively have to win every game between now and the end of the season.
And supersede City and Arsenal. Not going to happen. It's just not going to happen.
No, they can't.
Leeds United, though. Daniel Farke, what a job he's done, by the way. What a turnaround it's been. Since that day at City where they lost marginally, but they were 2-0 down and he changed to that 3-5-2 at half-time. Then the game went to 2-2 and then they marginally lost. Since that day, they've been really, really good. You know, if they would have played a back five all season, where could they have been?
I mean, it's very impressive from Farke because I never really subscribed to this theory, but a lot of people were saying that the disparity and the gap between the Championship and the Premier League was just too big. It was insurmountable. There was no way of coming up and staying up. And almost immediately, the teams that went down last year, you know, the three that came up went back down. Very early in this season, those teams that went back down looked foolish because we saw teams, the teams that came up this year, they came up, they gave it a real good go, they made a fist of it, they had a fight.
Been really competitive.
Yeah, exactly.
Even Wolves have.
Yeah.
In a weird way.
Yeah, absolutely. But very early it became clear that both Sunderland and Leeds United were going to be Premier League contenders next season. It was very obvious that they weren't going to be relegated. And at one point, Daniel Farke, I actually thought that Leeds should have sacked Farke prior to a ball being kicked this season.
Yeah,
after
in the offseason, because you know where it goes. You know he's not going to be good enough. Then you're going to have to sack him. Just do it now.
Yeah,
get ahead of the curve. But he's proved everybody wrong.
But they're now, you know, Leeds United. They've played 26 games, so they've still got what 12 games to go.
Yeah, are they safe?
No, they need 3 wins.
Yeah,
out of 12, they need to accrue 10 points max. They're going to be just fine.
They're not safe mathematically, but when you look at how it's going, they'll be fine. Give me a prediction: Aston Villa against Leeds.
I think Aston Villa have to win.
Yeah, they do.
If they have any chance, Aston Villa have to win. So let's go with Aston Villa 2-0 win.
Yeah, I'm going to back you on that one. Aston Villa 2, Leeds United 0. Sunderland versus Fulham. How much credit do both of these teams deserve? Because Regis Lebrie's done a fantastic job with Sunderland. Marco Silva, after some patchy form maybe early on, has really got Fulham playing. They're always competitive in any game they play. Praises for both.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm inclined to agree. I think Sunderland have been amazing.
They have.
I think you could make a case for Sunderland, for Regis Lebrie being manager of the year. It's probably not accurate. It's probably not the right decision. But I think you could argue Regis Lebrie for manager of the year. They came up. At the time, it felt like they had no rights. Can't you remember they beat Coventry?
Yeah.
It felt like they were.
They wasn't even primed to come up.
No.
You know what I mean?
It wasn't their time.
Yeah.
So they kind of prematurely got promoted, but they were like a duck to water in the Premier League. They made some astute signings, and do you know what they did? They had a real good go. They were the first team to actually show the world that this Arsenal team weren't what everybody was saying this Arsenal team was supposed to be.
Yeah.
They were the first team to go, actually, you get at them, you don't give them the respect, you put that back line under pressure, and they will concede.
You can get something out of them.
Yeah. And you know, I think it's great for the Premier League to have a side like Sunderland back performing.
And their home record, mate, it's only Liverpool who have beaten them there this season.
They lost one.
That wasn't. Yeah, there's only. I believe so. Yeah, and that was only an own goal. I think it was off Van Dijk headed it off to someone, and it was unlucky. But they're a formidable force at the Stadium of Light. They had to deal with a lot of African players, obviously going to AFCON. So in their squad, they've got a lot of African players. So they dealt with that pretty really well. People thought their form would fall off a cliff. They nicked some good draws during AFCON to stay in and around where they are. And it's been absolutely fantastic for them. They sit 11th in the Premier League, you know, level on points with their arch nemesis, arch rivals, Newcastle United. It's incredible.
They'll finish above Newcastle, won't they? They'll finish above Newcastle. Newcastle got a lot on their plate, you know.
That's a good shout. Finish above Newcastle.
Yeah, who will finish?
I'm still gonna say Newcastle.
Who will finish higher in the league, Newcastle or Sunderland? They are on exactly the same points.
I'm still going to go Newcastle.
Newcastle got so much on their plate.
They do, but like you said about Eddie Howe earlier, man, he finds a way.
And do you know what it can make life quite difficult. You know, when you're a team like Sunderland who've come up, you've already achieved, haven't you?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
You've already, if they don't win another game between now and the end of the season, they've probably
done enough, but they're going to keep pushing for more because they're really ambitious. Scoreline, Sunderland, Fulham?
I think Sunderland, it could be a draw this, actually.
Yeah, I think
got 2-2 draw.
1-1 for me. Another manager who could be up for manager of the season, mate, Keith Andrews. What a job he's done, by the way. He was, I'm just going to be real. I said nailed on relegation. Nailed on. I'm inexperienced. They've lost Thomas Frank, who, listen, look what's happened to him now. It sounds funny saying it, but what a job he's done at Brentford. You lost Brian and Brumo and Visser. That's like 40 goals. You've lost your captain in Norgard. You've lost Flecken. Okay, you replaced him with Kelleher, but you lost him. Who else did they lose? They lost Norgard. They lost their 2 top goal scorers in Visser and Mbermo. Yeah. They lost their captain in Norgard. Yeah. They lost their manager. Yeah. And then they lost a lot that backroom staff. Yeah. And Keith Andrews, who's never managed before. Yeah. You know when you talk about the howlers. So you think, right, Frank, do you know what, Frank? Do you know when you talk about howlers that I've made when I've sort of predicted things? Some things have been sort of blown up, and some things have not really been acknowledged. Right. In terms of howlers, my prediction for Brentford under Keith Andrews is up there with the worst I've ever predicted. Yeah, but do you know what though? It is and it isn't, because I don't think you'd be. I don't think you're mad for saying that. I think Brentford are going to struggle. I predicted that they would be relegated. Yeah, I predicted that as well. I predicted that they would be relegated in 19th. I thought it's still not crazy. With what? No, do you know what? I'm with you on this one. With what they lost and who they brought in, it's just a miraculous turnaround. There's probably even, I don't want to speak for all the Brentford fans, but maybe they could let us know on the text line. There's probably Brentford fans who thought, oh my God, we're doomed. What are we going to do? But fair play to the club, fair play to the hierarchy, the planning. If anyone, I'm trying to think who, generally speaking, we give the Manager of the Year award to the manager that wins the league. Is he pound for pound the best manager? Well, this is what now I'm asking, right? There's been some very few examples of managers that don't win the league getting Manager of the Year. Yes. Jurgen Klopp was Manager of the Year the year Guardiola won it. They gave it to Klopp. I think maybe Tony Pulis, I think. Surely when Stoke done really well. Yeah, Tony Pulis won Manager of the Year when he obviously didn't win the league. But it's very rare. It's generally, if you win the league, you're Manager of the Year. I think this year, Guardiola hasn't been great, even if he wins the league. Arteta hasn't been great. No, but if he wins it, they wouldn't have won it in so long. It would be him. It'd have to be. Would you? I'd say that Arsenal have the best team in the country. I'd say they have the best squad in the country. Yeah. Do you think it's more of an achievement to get Brentford potentially into Europe than it is to take Arsenal to a league title? Well, with the way Arsenal have been bottling it year in, year out, it's a massive achievement. I'll say that. Really quickly, give me a prediction. Brentford against Brighton. Brentford against Brighton in perhaps the most underwhelming. Brighton winless in 6. Still under pressure, or should be. Brighton are my tip to go down. Yeah. So I'm going for a Brentford win. Yeah, I'm going to go for a Brentford win as well. 2-0 Brentford, I'm going to go. I think they're going to win it quite comfortably. It is Game Day Live at 1 p.m. on Saturday with Adrian Durham, Scott Minto and Dean Ashton on talkSPORT. Adrian Durham with all the goals as they go in from the Premier League on Saturday. And 5:30 is Game Day phone-in with Jamie O'Hara and Jason Cundy on talkSPORT. Of course, Jamie and Jason will take all of your calls following the 3 p.m. games and keep you posted for West Ham against Bournemouth. And Game Day Live on Sunday as well from 1:30. Sam Matterface with Mickey Gray and Perry Grove. That's on talkSPORT as all the goals go in from all the Premier League games on Sunday as well. Next up, we're going to be looking ahead to the EFL this weekend, and it's still Blackburn 0 and Preston North End 0 over on talkSPORT 2.
There were reports that the night that Sean Dyche was sacked after that Wolves game, 4 or 5 senior players were called into Marinakis' boardroom and they essentially said, we're not loving this. And I don't like that. That feels unfair to someone like Sean Dyche. However, last night I think was great evidence because the players played with the reins off. They played with freedom. And I think it shows that how maybe unhappy some of those players were under Sean Dyche. The fact that they went to Istanbul, to a team unbeaten domestically under Dominic Tedesco, and absolutely played them off the park.
Yeah, on paper, Max, you look at your team. I mean, Hudson-Odoi on the wide, on his day he can do it. Hutchinson, you've got Gibbs-White, as you mentioned there. You've got Elliot Anderson in midfield as well. So you've got some top players.
I think he's the key, Elliot Anderson, because he's the dynamo, he's the driving force. And if he can win and keep them playing and get the balls to the danger men, then Forest have every chance.
Without a doubt. Look, and we all know that Elliot Anderson's destined for the top 4 team. He's got the talent to be absolutely world class. The way that he moves, there are shades of Zidane about him. And I know that people will laugh at that, but he is something special. And I think if England are going to do something special this summer, he's going to be a massive part of that for Thomas Tuchel. But people have been saying this about Forest all season, boys. They've been saying, well, they'll be absolutely fine. Look at the players, and they'll list the exact same players you...
Frank Football is Friday with me, Flex, and Rory Jennings. We're going to be with you for about another 20 minutes or so before we hand over to the boys on the sports bar. Jermaine Pennant's got to be here to be accountable for his sins. He's been in the news a lot. Rory's got a lot to say to him for his beloved John Terry. And Adam Catcher will be joining you. Time now to turn our attentions to the EFL. It's all hotting up in the EFL. To be fair, as it always is, especially in the Championship. Time now to welcome in Justin Peach from the Second Tier podcast. He's the co-host there. How you doing, Justin, mate?
Yeah, all good, thank you. How are you guys?
Yes, we are very, very good. I want to start off with Norwich because their best player, Sargent, he's considering the impact that he's had going forward after just getting out of the relegation zone. How are they looking, Norwich?
They've been really, really good recently, especially under Philippe Clement, who's obviously been appointed since Liam Manning left. The run of form has been tremendous. They're starting to win games. They were sort of 7 defeats, straight defeats, I think it was, at the start of the season, especially at home. Couldn't win for toffee. But Philippe Clement's come in and really, really turned things around. And the impact of Josh Sargent, where Norwich have, I wouldn't say have been a one-man team of late in recent years, but he's been a massive, massive goal threat. He's been one of the most consistent forwards at Championship level. He's not played for a month because he's been wanting a move to Toronto, which he might look to get, but they've not missed him. They've not missed him because there's a real good team effort, and recruitment to Ben Napper's credit, I should say, has been tremendous. And there's some really good players like Ali Ahmed who've really made a huge impact. Jevon McCarm is another one as well, who's actually injured. Mohamed Touré's come in. The absence of Josh Sargent's not been felt, and the team just looks to be getting better and better.
Justin, sir, I've been looking forward to talking to you. We haven't yet had a chance to dissect in great detail Coventry City's phenomenal victory against Middlesbrough on Monday night.
Yeah, it's a bounce back, if you like, a real turn for the books. Did not expect Coventry to win that, but for Frank Lampard's credit, he finally changed things up. It's what good managers should be doing if you're losing on a losing run. But putting Frank Onyeka in that starting 11 really, really benefited Coventry, where they weren't so open. And Borough, the form team, going into that game, won 6 games in a row. Did him over.
He loves it. He loves the Coventry. He loves Frank, doesn't he? Right, from the top, Justin, to the bottom 3, because Leicester City, they've appealed against their decision to deduct them 6 points for breaching the EFL financial rules. They're in the bottom 3, 2 points from safety. How could their 6-point deduction appeal impact their chances of staying up?
As far as I'm aware, it won't harm them as such. The Premier League are chasing another sanction. They're just looking for another point. The reports that I've seen, the problem that Leicester got isn't necessarily points deductions. It's the fact that the players just aren't performing. They are really, really poor at the moment. They've not had any response to Marti Cifuentes being sacked. Andy King, a club legend, has been in interim charge, and he's not been able to get a tune out of them. They're making some really, really basic mistakes. So at the moment, the points deduction is probably the least of their worries. It's getting points and getting points quickly. Gary Rowett's probably the right man to come in and do it, but these players are a special case of really, really bad.
Justin, there is an amazing occasion taking place in the city of Sheffield this weekend. It's Sheffield United taking on Sheffield Wednesday at Bramall Lane. And if it goes badly for Sheffield Wednesday, Sheffield United, their intercity rival, could relegate them.
Yeah, it's what a way to go out, I guess, from a Sheffield Wednesday point of view. But it does come with, as well, it's almost tainted a little bit, isn't it? Because you want your opposition to be in the best shape possible, and Sheffield Wednesday are begging, borrowing, and taking what they can. They're on the 7th goalkeeper with Sonny Dieng coming on an emergency loan. So it goes to show how bad things are in terms of player availability and personnel. But nonetheless, you can't take away anything from a Sheffield United fan if they manage to relegate their rivals.
Yeah, that would be some turnaround. I mean, it's just been so chaotic. Obviously, the points deduction that they've had, it's been absolute turmoil at the club. Just quickly, Justin, I want to ask you about the playoffs. It's so tight. It's so tight, as it always is in the Championship. Who are your favourites to make the playoffs? You know, you've got Millwall in there on 56 points, Ipswich Town doing well, 54 points, joint with Hull City, Derby County occupying the last place. But Wrexham, you know, joint points with Derby County on 48, Preston on 48, Bristol on 47, 46, right down to probably Watford, really. Even QPR maybe with a shout and beyond. All got a shout at getting in there.
Yeah, you can probably drop it down to Norwich, to be honest with you, especially with the player availability. It's the perfect summary of the Championship. I think, firstly, you can't really rule out Hull or Millwall making a push for the automatics either, because we've seen some inconsistency come in there, but that 6th place really is up for grabs. Derby have got Colton Morris coming back, which is fantastic. He's been out since October. He was the division's top scorer at the point of him getting injured against Watford. But Wrexham have got the squad depth, haven't they? They've invested heavily. The likes of Preston, Bristol City, I don't think have got enough over the course of the next couple of months. It's going to be a big ask for them, especially going forward. You've got to start scoring goals as well as being really tight defensively. That being said, Southampton, they've got 8 home games out of 14, which is a really, really nice thing to have going into that last stretch, and that could really push them up. That being said, I really like the look of Sheffield United as well. Their last derby win really propelled them form-wise, and I wouldn't rule them out, especially when you make signings like Calvin Phillips and January transfer window.
Who do you think is most equipped? Well, it's difficult actually in terms of most equipped because they go up and then you've got to make changes. But out of the teams other than Coventry, when you look at Middlesbrough, Millwall, Ipswich Town, Hull City, Derby County, etc., even Wrexham, who do you think is in a good position to give it a go?
Give it a go. It's a great question. Who's going to not get or finish as high as they possibly can, but still get relegated?
Yeah,
that'll be the best way to phrase it. It's really difficult to say. I think Derby are in a healthy position, but they're really far behind squad wise and investment wise as well. In terms of finances, the likes of Ipswich and Wrexham are in the best. They're in the best spot. Likewise with Middlesbrough, I think Middlesbrough could really thrive if they go up. Not do a Sunderland like they have done this season, but they will fare a lot better than the likes of Burnley and other teams before them as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's difficult to say. It's difficult to say, but the likes of Birmingham, Southampton, the guys with the big backing, they're the clubs you want to look at.
Be very interesting. Look at Millwall as well and trying to knock on the door. Right, Justin, it's been an absolute pleasure, mate. Enjoy your evening and your weekend. That was Justin Peach there from the Second Tier podcast. Saturday, we have 12:30 West Brom against Coventry City. That's in the Championship. That's the talkSPORT 2 exclusive presented by Ollie Klink. Commentary from Joe Shannon and former Liverpool women's striker Courtney Sweetman-Kirk. At 3 p.m. on talkSPORT 2 also is Wrexham versus Ipswich from the Championship. That is also presented by Ollie Klink. Commentary from Adam Bridge and former Arsenal winger Perry Groves. And on Sunday at 12 p.m, that is the big one. Like Rory was just saying, the Intercity derby, the Steel derby. Sheffield United taking on Sheffield Wednesday with relegation on the line for Sheffield Wednesday. That's our talkSPORT 2 exclusive commentary there, brought to you from Jim Proudfoot and former Scotland striker Chris Iwelumo. Next up here, we'll be taking a look at VAR. And did the FA Cup last week show why football needs it?
I'll tell you why I'm not worried. Because if Arteta doesn't win anything this season, major, then it has to go. All right?
No, I disagree with that.
No, well, you would, wouldn't you? But we don't sack managers every other week.
But you can't sack a manager who gets to the latter stages of every competition. You can't. You can't.
You can, mate. When the pattern emerges.
You can sack them.
The pattern emerges. Chelsea did it.
It depends what they do.
They won things.
So, John,
okay, here's a question. Would you sack Arteta if they finish second in
well, what happens in the Champions League?
They lose in the final.
What happens in the Carabao Cup?
Lose in the final.
FA Cup?
Lose in the final.
No, mate, he's got to go. You can't.
You're gonna sack him.
You can't get to three
finals.
You can't get to 3 finals and finish second. You can't. That to me tells that is all the evidence. No, you well done. It's a little bit like what Claudio Ranieri done at Chelsea. Chelsea he finished second that season. We beat Arsenal in the semi-final, quarter-final of the Champions League. Got beat by Monaco. Jose comes in. We've gone from second to the quarter-finals to almost winning. We won the title, won the Carabao Cup. Arteta might just be that man. He might be the nearly man. He might be the man, but he might be the nearly man. If he's the nearly man...
Well, you'd sack him. You've got to be careful what you wish for, Jake.
I'm not saying...
built this team for him.
I'm not saying...
Built this team, and if they don't win it this season, or they finish second and they miss the cup finals, whatever, I don't think you can sack Arteta. I don't, mate.
I think you can.
From where they've come from.
No, but that's the point I'm making. He has taken them to this point. Now, Their time is now. Their time is now. And if it's not now, I don't know when it ever is going to be, because City will be stronger next season.
Trip to Cheltenham, Alan Brazil style on talkSPORT.
Fancy joining talkSPORT at the famous Cheltenham Festival for Gold Cup Day? Well, we are giving away the ultimate hospitality experience for two on Friday, March the 13th. You'll get the full day of VIP treatment, a 4-course lunch, a complimentary bar all day, celebrity tipsters and more. You'll be experiencing the races in the best way possible, and you'll get to meet some of us as well. Here's how you enter. For your chance to win, text WIN to 83338. Text costs £2.50 plus your standard network rate, or call 0343 418 7260. Lines close on the 27th of February 2026 at 4 p.m. That's when you'll need to answer your phone if it rings. 18 plus. UK residents only. This is a talkSPORT promotion. Full T's and C's at talksport.com. So for your chance to win, text WIN to 83338 now. And over on talkSPORT 2, Blackburn have won it with the last kick of the game. Preston North End going to be absolutely fuming with that. Literally last kick of the game. And they have won it. A massive 3 points for them. It looks like it's going to be there at the wrong end of the table. Need to make sure they're staying away from that relegation zone, currently in 20th place. So that win will take them above Portsmouth. And they've played a game more as well. So a massive win for Blackburn. Good header into the back post as well there. So a massive win. It looks like it's going to be. Surely no time for Preston North End to get back into it. Aston Villa, Blackburn 1, Preston North End 0. Right, time to turn our attention back to, well, I was going to say the Premier League actually, but not just the Premier League, because it's actually in the FA Cup. But about VAR, Rory, because we saw against Newcastle United against Aston Villa last week in the FA Cup, the absolute clangers that were made, the big errors that were made. Does it show that football still needs VAR? Is this why we need it? Because, you look at the Luca Dean situation.
No, you can't position it that way. You can't position it that way because I think that a lot of the mistakes that were made because of VAR, because of referees now are so used to relying on
exactly what I said. They've got no. It's like when you take the kids' stabilizers off.
Yeah.
And they go, oh, I'm wobbling. I don't know what to do. I'm so used to having that as the backup. Yeah. Well, when you go bowling and the railings are up.
Yeah.
That's what it's like.
You use the railings.
I'm going to bounce it off there, and then I'll get it in the middle, and I'm going to get a strike. Yeah. Take them down. You go, oh, this is rubbish. It keeps going down the gutter. Yeah, I agree. Like, it feels like they're over-reliance on it, doesn't it?
Yeah, I completely.
Like, what do we do now it's not here?
Look, VAR is an abomination on the game. And where I will concede, right, bringing it in was a noble thing to do. The idea behind the idea behind it wasn't wrong. And you can't criticise anybody for being part of the movement to bring it in. I wanted it because I thought it would work. It was a noble experiment. It was an experiment worth experimenting on. But it has been proved to be a failure. What it removes from the game is so destructive to football. I am president and co-founder of the Anti-VAR Society. Wow. I hate it.
Yeah, listen, I was for it, and the longer it's gone on, I'm now looking at it saying, get rid. For a couple of years, I was like, it's the people that are interpreting the information, right? All the VAR can do is basically give them the tools to make the correct decision, i.e. just show you a replay of what happened. And statistically, even though it doesn't feel like it, there are more right decisions than wrong. Like, statistically, there is.
I mean, there are more right decisions than wrong without VAR at all, and just referees making those decisions.
I just think the thing for me is the fan element. I go to a lot of games, and I am so accustomed, honestly, to my team scoring a goal, and I just don't celebrate immediately. If it looks content, I look around at the linesman, has his flag gone up? And I don't actually celebrate now. It's got so bad, I don't celebrate until the announcer says, goal scored by number 8, Bruno Fernandes, then I know it's a goal.
But that robs you of the spontaneity.
100%.
No, and also, once you start talking about robbing people of that jubilation, like that's the point of football, isn't it? If you think about why people are football fans, that's what they're going for. The reason that you go, the reason that 1 million people in this country travel to commit their time and their money to their football team is basically we're all in it for the same reason. We're all chasing a buzz. We're all junkies.
Well,
and the buzz that we're chasing is a last-minute winner. If anything is introduced to the game that removes the ability to celebrate a last-minute winner, that is wrong. That needs to go, because that is the purpose and reason of football. And the second that you have something destroying that, it's really problematic.
It could be a lot better.
Did you hear Rooney talking about VAR, by the way?
What did he say?
Wayne Rooney was so open. It was refreshing to hear. He just, I think he sees it as a plague on the game. He hates it.
Yeah, and I think with the right and wrong with the goal line decision, fair enough, it's offside. Sorry, it's a goal or it's not. Even with the semi-automatic offside now, you're thinking this should be easy. You'll just see if they're past the line or if their elbow goes past the line. And now you're looking at 5 centimetre grace that was applied to Florian Wirtz and not to Casemiro against West Ham. You're just looking at it going, even that doesn't seem to make sense as well. So I think we should get rid of it. I do.
It's hateful.
And we've given it enough time. Like, it's not. VAR's been here quite a long time. You don't realise until you look back at when it actually came in. It's been here a long time. But I just think you're now starting to take the autonomy away from the referees, where they're getting things wrong that usually they would get right. Like I say with the stabilisers analogy, because they're supposed to be getting things correct, and they're not. So if you had a vote tomorrow,
it's gone.
Get rid.
It's gone. It's absolutely.
What about the travesties? Like, like they say, like the Henry thing would never happen, where Ireland couldn't go to. Like, surely with technology, like we should be in a position where that type of thing doesn't happen.
There's always jeopardy.
Anymore.
There's always a problem, but this removes more than it brings. That would be that. Also, do you know those things? Thierry Henry, Maradona. Are they just part of it?
It's part of it, yeah. It's true. It is. Rory, it's been an absolute pleasure.
An honor, Flex. Thank you.
Enjoy your weekend, as all of you listen, and I hope you enjoy your weekend as well. Next up, it's the boys on the Sports Bar, Adam Cattrall and Jermaine Pennant.
Just unbelievable how things have changed so dramatically just from like a 190-minute game where Arsenal really...
but it's not one 90-minute game, though.
No, it's not.
It's been a few weeks now.
No, you're right. But if Arsenal win that 2-0 compared to drawing it 2-2, the narrative is so different. The point, it's so... We're talking about now, you said it last night, championship rounds. We are there. We're approaching that time now. And here's the funny thing, right, is that it's... Man City, right? They're not putting Arsenal under pressure. This is not like Man City and Liverpool going toe to toe, where City win, Liverpool win, City win, Liverpool draw, City win, Liverpool win, City. And do you remember that under Klopp and Pep, right?
Yeah.
And I remember when Chelsea were going toe to toe with Man United. There'll be that they win, and you have to go. And there's like the points difference was minute. And